Chapter 1791. Qin Wentian felt a little puzzled. Yu Changkong was provoking him because he wanted to show off in front of Dong Huangying? But this is someone who wants you to go up. 10 Miles Springwind laughed. Chao Tian and the others glanced at Yu Changkong. This man was truly outstanding, but he made them feel that he was a hypocrite. In the past, he had always been concealing himself. But after he gained power, he instantly formed relationships with the various major powers, and even had an ambiguous relationship with Dong Huangying. Right now, he wanted to trample on Qin Wentian and show off in front of Dong Huangying. However, although Dong Huangying was beautiful, Qin Wentian didn't have any feelings for her. He naturally wouldn't do something like this. He calmly glanced at Yu Changkong in the air and smiled. No need, I'll just watch. Little princess, I suggested to spar with Brother Qin because I admire his glory earlier. I have no other intentions. No matter who wins or loses, it's impossible to mask his magnificence. Yu Changkong explained to Dong Huangying. After that, he turned to Qin Wentian and smiled. Brother Qin has such talent, wouldn't it be a pity if he doesn't show it off? If this is the case, Brother Qin, you can consider it. Just like what he said, regardless of victory or defeat, it's impossible to mask his magnificence. Dong Huangying smiled. You guys are my friends, I won't interfere. Why does it sound strange? Regardless of victory or defeat, it's impossible to mask his magnificence? Are you consoling Brother Qin? Why do I feel that he would be defeated? 10 Miles Springwind spoke in a somewhat depressed manner. Qin Wentian casually smiled. Since it's impossible to mask his magnificence regardless of victory or defeat, why is there a need to compete? Since he made the decision not to participate, he wouldn't do so. Once he participated, he would surely attract the attention of the Ziwei Divine Court. At that time, he didn't know if he would be able to retreat unscathed. At that time, if the Ziwei Divine Court summoned him, should he go or not? What a pity, I still wanted to spar with Brother Qin. Yu Changkong's behavior was extremely refined and courteous. If it wasn't for the fact that Qin Wentian knew that Yu Changkong had pretended to be him and admitted that he had obtained the Time King's inheritance, Qin Wentian would really believe that Yu Changkong was a gentleman. Right now, the more Yu Changkong acted like this, the more he felt that Yu Changkong was a hypocrite. Sadly, it was useless even if he reminded Dong Huangying. Dong Huangying's background was extraordinary, and she was the little princess of the Dong Huang clan. From this, one could very well imagine how lofty her status was. She had seen countless geniuses before and many of them wanted to fawn over her. Right now, after seeing a heaven chosen like Yu Changkong, it was inevitable that her heart would be moved. Just when Qin Wentian thought that this matter would end like this, Yu Changkong's gaze slowly turned over and landed on another person. After that, he smiled. Among the people attending the convention today, the person I want to challenge the most isn't Brother Qin. Instead, it's a guest from afar. When everyone heard Yu Changkong's words, their gazes all turned to him. Who did Yu Changkong want to challenge? The Luotian clan of the desolate region has always been my admiration. I didn't expect that I would be able to meet a guest from the Luotian clan in the Mystic Region's convention today. The Ziwei Divine Court released their constellation battle, and I saw a goddess from the Luotian clan appearing in the world, radiating a resplendent light. Hence, I wish to spar with her and admire the glory of the Luotian clan. Yu Changkong slowly spoke. His gaze was fixed on Luo Shenlei from the Luotian clan. Luo Shenlei was also someone who was enveloped by the light of the constellation. She also had the qualifications to participate in the constellation battle. Yu Changkong's tone was still polite, praising Luo Shenlei for appearing in the world, and expressing his admiration for the glory of the Luotian clan. However, there was another layer of meaning in his polite words. The Luotian clan was a peak power from the desolate region. In the future, if Yu Changkong was chosen by the Ziwei Divine Court, he would represent the Ziwei Divine Court. If he could defeat Luo Shenlei, wouldn't he have a greater chance of being chosen by the experts of the Ziwei Divine Court? This move contained a deeper meaning, using the Luotian clan to elevate himself. It was no longer a secret that the Luotian clan of the desolate region appeared in the convention of the Myriad Realms. Back then when Luo Shenlei threatened the Dragon Pool Manor, It was impossible for this matter to be concealed. Those major characters all knew about it, but they pretended that they didn't know. After all, if they knew about this, what kind of attitude should they have towards the Luotian clan? Even if they were peak powers of the mystic region, they still didn't have the qualifications to speak on equal terms with the Luotian clan. If they wanted them to act arrogant, they wouldn't have the guts to do so. It was even more impossible for them to bow and kneel to the Luotian clan. What would the three hegemonic powers of the mystic region think of this? After all, this place was the convention of the myriad realms of the mystic region, and the Luotian clan came from the desolate region. Qin Wentian's eyes suddenly gleamed with coldness. After Yu Changkong challenged him, he also challenged Luotian Lei. What did this mean? Qin Wentian naturally understood this. Although everyone didn't mention the matter of the Luotian clan, it shouldn't be a secret that Luotian Lei had helped him before. Those who were interested would know about this. In that case, did Yu Changkong know about this matter as well? If Yu Changkong knew that he challenged Luotian Lei, would there be a deeper meaning behind it? Was Yu Changkong targeting him? No matter if there was or not, Yu Changkong's character caused Qin Wentian to feel increasingly sinister. Luotian Lei also started. Clearly, she didn't expect that someone would challenge her. She originally didn't come to the mystic region for the convention of the myriad realms. She naturally didn't want to participate in the constellation battle held by the Ziwei Divine Court. She only wanted to observe the cultivation bases of the world overlords of the mystic region. She had always been low profile and only revealed her identity when she helped Qin Wentian. Did she reveal her identity as a member of the Luotian clan? Yu Changkong's words instantly made everything clear. Also, his polite words seemed to place himself in the perspective of the mystic region. It was like this battle wasn't just a personal one. It was also a competition between the geniuses of the mystic region and the Luotian clan of the desolate region. Her beautiful eyes stared at Yu Changkong. This person was truly scheming. Miss, there's no need for us to accept the challenge. We only need to find an excuse. The old man at the side transmitted his voiceover. Although Yu Changkong was scheming, his strength has already been proven. His young miss was still young. There was no need for her to participate in such a battle. However, Luotian Lei didn't seem to hear his words. Her beautiful eyes were still staring at Yu Changkong. Since Yu Changkong already said this, could she still reject the challenge? Wouldn't the Luotian clan have the reputation of being a coward? I'm not a goddess. I'm just an ordinary member of the Luotian clan, and can't represent the geniuses of the Luotian clan. But since you wish to spar with me, I'll accept your challenge. I've cultivated for over 400 years, and I've never fought against a peak genius of the mystic region before. Luotian Lei slowly spoke, even revealing her age. This caused many people to feel shock in their hearts. What terrifying cultivation talent! As expected of someone from the Luotian clan of the desolate region, she intentionally said that she was very ordinary because she didn't want to represent the Luotian clan. If she was defeated, wouldn't the Luotian clan lose a lot of face? Many major characters silently nodded. This genius maiden of the Luotian clan was also extraordinary, and had meticulous thoughts. Being able to fight against the goddess of the Luotian clan, it's my fortune of 3 lifetimes. Please. Yu Changkong was still as elegant as ever as he smiled. Luotian Lei's silhouette flashed as she soared up into the air. Very soon, she appeared in the boundless constellation world in the constellation sea. Astral light revolved around her. She who was originally already extremely beautiful was like a goddess who descended from the heavens. At this moment, it felt like all the spiritual qi in the world was gathered around her. I heard that the Luotian clan is the god of all demons and all demons submit to you. They all have an extremely powerful innate talent, the ability to nurture gods. Today, I finally have the fortune to experience it for myself. Yu Changkong spoke. Clearly, he had a deep understanding of the Luotian clan. He even knew about the innate talent of nurturing gods. Although I've broken through to the world overlord realm, my foundation isn't stable, and the time I spent breaking through is still too short. I have no way to unleash the true potential of my innate talent. In the future, if you have the chance to spar with a true genius of my clan, you will know the true talent of my Luotian clan. However, you might not be qualified to do so. Luo Shenlei calmly spoke. Aha! Yu Changkong laughed uproariously. In that case, I'll wait and see. Today, I shall temporarily witness the glory of a goddess. Please. Luo Shenlei didn't say anything more. Her long hair fluttered in the wind as a bright light radiated from her. She was like a true goddess. Her entire body was enveloped by a layer of holy light as her aura soared madly. A resplendent demon god painting appeared in the constellation space, enveloping her within. Within the demon god painting, there were many saint beasts that exuded terrifying auras. My world heart, moon god radiance. Yu Changkong spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, the power of his world heart and innate heaven heart mandate gushed forth. A desolate moonlight descended, directly shooting towards the space where Luo Shenlei was at. The moonlight cascaded down, directly locking onto Luo Shenlei's body. In his heart domain, a formless and powerful imprisonment energy manifested, causing everything to be unable to move. This has already surpassed the scope of spatial imprisonment. In Yu Changkong's world heart, everything seemed to have come to a standstill. Luo Shenlei felt that she wanted to move, but a terrifying energy was sucking her in. The formless light unceasingly bore down on her. Each beam of light was like a prison, locking her down. A beam of light shot over, faster than lightning, directly shooting towards Luo Shenlei. Luo Shenlei's eyes flashed with sharpness. In an instant, a gigantic divine turtle appeared and spat out a terrifying screen of light, transforming into an extremely powerful protective energy. The moonlight continued to rain down, landing on the divine turtle, wanting to lock it down. Luo Shenlei's expression didn't change. With a thunderous roar, another terrifying phoenix manifested in her world heart. It breathed out at Yu Changkong as Yu Changkong's body directly vanished from his original location. The space he was in turned into ashes, and in another location, a part of Yu Changkong's sleeves was incinerated into nothingness. The talent of the Luotian clan truly lives up to its reputation. Yu Changkong slowly spoke. Before him, a flying serpent appeared. At this moment, his body felt like it was about to transform into an ice sculpture, directly frozen. This entire space was enveloped by the demon god painting. Greater demons unceasingly appeared, and each of the saint beasts in the painting seemed to be able to fight for Luo Shenlei. In addition, all of them had their own demon heaven heart mandates. This also indicated that Luo Shenlei could use many types of heaven heart mandates. This was the talent of the Luotian clan. It was extremely terrifying. Everyone in the surroundings sighed in admiration. Luo Shenlei has only cultivated for over 400 years. If she grew stronger in the future, her talent would surely grow more and more powerful. Chapter 1792. It's rumored that when the talent of the Luotian clan's spirit-rearing talent reaches a certain level, they would be able to summon demon gods to protect them. At that time, how terrifying would that be? Also, everyone's talent was different. It was extremely difficult to cultivate, and one had to have extremely high comprehension abilities. The so-called spirit-rearing talent referred to rearing demon gods. The strength of each spirit-rearing talent would depend on the cultivation talent of the master. Luo Shenlei hasn't been in the world overlord realm for a long time. Although she had the talent of spirit-rearing and was extremely powerful, her world heart was still weak. Her original body was sealed and was stuck to her original location, unable to move. If it wasn't for the fact that she had an innate advantage, she would have long since been defeated. I heard that the cultivation of the spirit-rearing talent requires an extremely long period of time. Each spirit-rearing talent has to depend on the master's comprehension. Although Goddess's talent is extraordinary, your cultivation base is still weak. These spirit-rearing talents might have heaven heart mandates, but they are all a little weak. Yu Changkong's voice rang out in the air, sounding extremely carefree. At this moment, Yu Changkong's body radiated an incomparably resplendent light. The entire space here was filled with a supremely powerful moonlight, desolate and cold. With Yu Changkong as the center, the entire space was in a state of stillness. The rearing deities were also enveloped by the moonlight, unable to move. World heart suppression. Everyone silently mused when they saw this scene. Yu Changkong clearly had an absolute advantage in terms of world heart when facing Luo Xunlei. Since his world heart could suppress Luo Xunlei, the ending of the battle was already determined. I'll have to offend you then. Yu Changkong spoke. He waved his hand elegantly as the spirit-rearing talents in the air directly exploded. They basically couldn't block his tyrannical attack. Luo Xunlei wanted to retreat, but she discovered that she was trapped in a formless prison. In this entire world, she was the only person trapped within that absolute power. Stay your hand. At this moment, a shout rang out from below. After that, Luo Xunlei groaned in pain as a beam of light directly blasted into her body, causing her to cough out a mouthful of blood in the air. The old man from the Luoshan clan flashed and appeared beside her. However, Luo Xunlei waved her hand and stopped him. She stared at Yu Changkong with a cold expression. The Luoshan clan of the desolate region? From what I've seen today, it seems that they are merely SOSO. I hope I'll have a chance to meet even stronger characters in the future. Yu Changkong calmly spoke, exuding the might he exuded after defeating a world overlord from the Luoshan clan of the desolate region. His radiance grew even more dazzling and resplendent. Also, he was completely different from how he usually was. His arrogant tone was filled with disdain for the Luoshan clan. Before this, when Yu Changkong fought against the geniuses of the other hegemonic powers of the mystic region, he would show mercy and not injure his opponents. But now, when facing the Luoshan clan of the desolate region, he actually acted out of character, injuring Luo Xunlei and even saying that the Luoshan clan is merely SOSO. Someone silently mused when he saw this scene. However, they soon understood. Yu Changkong was trying to gain a favorable impression from the Ziwei Divine Court. If he was accepted into the Ziwei Divine Court, he would gain a lot of face by defeating a world overlord from the Luoshan clan of the desolate region. Although the Luoshan clan would be unhappy about this, it was impossible for the Luoshan clan to take revenge because of this. For a transcendent power like the Luoshan clan, they couldn't afford to lose so much face. It was possible for them to let a world overlord from the younger generation take revenge. Luo Xunlei's expression turned cold when she heard Yu Changkong's words. Yu Changkong was intentionally using her to raise his own prestige, constantly emphasizing the Luoshan clan. Although she knew that such an ending might happen, it was impossible for her to avoid a battle. Yu Changkong had already pointed out the Luoshan clan. Even if she was defeated, she had to fight. This was her attitude. At this moment, Qin Wentian's eyes were exceptionally cold. He stared at Yu Changkong in the air as a cold intent radiated from him. Even a genius from the Luoshan clan was easily defeated. Yu Changkong's talent is simply incomparable. Dong Huangying spoke in a light voice. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a bright light as she stared at the figure in the air. Merely a shameless vile character. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. His words caused Dong Huangying, who was immersed in joy, to stiffen. She turned her head and stared at Qin Wentian. Brother Qin, I know this fairy from the Luoshan clan has helped you before, but Yu Changkong defeated her fair and square. There's no need for you to humiliate him like this, right? Yu Changkong seemed to have heard Qin Wentian's voice. He turned his gaze over and smiled at Qin Wentian. Brother Qin, why are you slandering me? Elder brother, have you forgotten the agreement between us? If I'm defeated, so be it. There's no need to stand out for me. Luo Xunlei's voice rang out. She didn't want others to know that her relationship with Qin Wentian was too close. She didn't want people to investigate this matter. Qin Wentian's identity was still a little sensitive. Hence, Luo Xunlei intentionally reminded Qin Wentian not to stand out. Before this, I have a treasure with Miss Luoshan on me. Hence, I'm acquainted with her, and didn't mind her identity. Qin Wentian slowly spoke to Dong Huangying. It's just that it's fine if Yu Changkong took the initiative to challenge her. But why did he keep emphasizing the fact that the Luoshan clan is merely SOSO? Before this, Yu Changkong didn't injure a single person, but now, he actually injured a young maiden. Using such a method to trample on others to raise his own status, isn't this shameless? Little princess, you have to look at people more clearly. As for Yu Changkong's words, Qin Wentian directly ignored them. I've always respected Brother Qin, but I didn't expect Brother Qin to slander me like this. I wonder when have I offended Brother Qin? Yu Changkong was still as polite as ever. That's right, Yu Changkong has always respected you. Even if your relationship with Miss Luotian isn't bad, you shouldn't slander and humiliate others because of this, right? This is clearly Brother Qin's fault. Why didn't I see it clearly? Dong Huangying spoke up for Yu Changkong. I have no intention to guess Brother Qin's thoughts. It's just that Brother Qin is so biased and didn't participate in the constellation battle. Could it be that you already have a good place to go? Yu Changkong, who was in the air, calmly spoke. After that, the eyes of everyone flashed. Yu Changkong's words clearly hinted that Qin Wentian might go to the Luotian clan of the desolate region. Could it be that he wanted to marry into the Luotian clan? As expected of a despicable person. Qin Wentian glanced at Yu Changkong. He lied to everyone and obtained the Time King's recognition before getting close to Dong Huangying. But now he was actually using such thoughts to judge him. Yu Changkong defeated the young geniuses of the Luotian clan, and is extremely heroic. What do you mean by insulting him? Could it be that you are preparing to leave the mystic region? Someone directly spoke. The person who spoke was none other than an expert from the Dragon Pool Manor, who had a grudge against the Luotian clan and Qin Wentian. Little friend Qin's words are too biased. What's there to nitpick about Yu Changkong's performance today? A powerful world overlord from the Eastern Royal Immortal Realms also spoke. The Eastern Royal Immortal Realms was a vassal of the Ziwei Divine Court, and Yu Changkong might very well become a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court. In addition, Yu Changkong's relationship with Dong Huangying was extraordinary. He naturally had to speak up for Yu Changkong. Qin Wentian didn't expect that by standing out to criticize Yu Changkong, he would instead become the target of public criticism. One couldn't help but say that during these days, Yu Changkong's efforts weren't wasted. Also, because of his dazzling talent and the inheritance of the Time King, many people still spoke up for Yu Changkong despite their hearts being like a mirror. Many of you are major characters of your respective powers. Let me ask all of you. If I defeat a world overlord from your powers, would I have a reason to openly mock the powers you all are from? If that's the case, what would everyone think? Would you feel that I'm arrogant? Qin Wentian calmly spoke, ignoring the pressure from all directions. Although Luotian Lei told him not to stand up for her, he still couldn't endure it. He loathed Yu Changkong more and more. Yu Changkong's world heart is clearly stronger compared to Miss Luotian. His cultivation base is more stable, and he has cultivated for a longer period of time, bullying a person who is clearly weaker than him. And after defeating him, he became arrogant and even mocked the Luotian clan. In the future, if Yu Changkong has a chance to join a hegemonic power of our mystic region, wouldn't he be mocking the mystic region for having no experts? Qin Wentian continued, for people of our generation, no matter where we come from, we still have to respect the hegemonic powers of the various regions. If we act so arrogantly just because of a single victory, we would only be mocked by others. I don't believe that Yu Changkong doesn't understand this. But earlier, he was humble, but now he is doing this intentionally. This is simply because he wants to use the Luotian clan to raise his status. If he isn't a despicable person, what is he? What a joke. Yu Changkong challenged you, but you didn't dare to accept. Now you are mocking others? Don't forget that Yu Changkong has obtained the inheritance of the Time King. Who do you think you are? What qualifications do you have to speak so arrogantly here? What a despicable person. Do you guys believe his words? I can also say that I've obtained the inheritance of the Time King. Would you guys believe me? Qin Wentian mocked. He truly wanted to expose Yu Changkong right here and now. Haha, I've participated in many conventions of the Myriad Realms, but this is the first time I've heard such a laughable thing. Someone laughed uproariously. Could it be that Yu Changkong dared to lie to everyone in the mystic region? As for Qin Wentian saying that he obtained the inheritance of the Time King, to everyone, it was merely a joke to belittle Yu Changkong. Dong Huangying's expression became extremely unsightly. She stared at Qin Wentian. Brother Qin, I've always respected you and treated you as a friend. I didn't expect you to act like this. How disappointing. Qin Wentian glanced at Dong Huangying. Before this, Dong Huangning wanted to rope him in because of his talent. But now, she clearly trusted Yu Changkong completely. This was because she saw a higher value in Yu Changkong. The word friend was a little too cheap. If Dong Huangning truly treated him as a friend, she would carefully consider his words. It wasn't hard for her to understand some logic. Right now, she kept feeling that he was in the wrong because the person standing opposite to Qin Wentian was Yu Changkong. If she had to choose between the two of them, she would naturally choose Yu Changkong, this so-called successor of the Time King. Since we walk different paths, we can't make plans together. Little princess, please do as you wish. Qin Wentian didn't want to say anything more, and directly spoke. Dong Huangning stared at Qin Wentian and coldly snorted. After that, she turned and left. Chapter 1793. Dong Huangning returned to the crowd of the Donghuang clan. Her expression was extremely unsightly. She had always treated Qin Wentian with respect, but she didn't expect Qin Wentian to be so despicable, slandering Yu Changkong. When she thought back to that day when Qin Wentian reminded her that Yu Changkong's character was problematic, it seemed that Qin Wentian was truly jealous of Yu Changkong, snatching away his limelight. If not, why didn't he dare to accept Yu Changkong's challenge to Qin Wentian earlier? I've misjudged. Dong Huangning spoke with some anger. Little princess, I feel that Brother Qin's words aren't without logic. Did you not discover that Yu Changkong did this intentionally? If not, why would he only injure the maidens of the Luotian clan, and even belittle them? Xiao Yu, who was at the side, spoke in a low voice. Dong Huangning glanced at Xiao Yu as her expression turned even colder. Are you also jealous that Yu Changkong can still stand there while you were blasted down? Xiao Yu's expression instantly turned pale. He stared with disbelief at this beautiful young woman whom he was acquainted with for so many years. Their relationship was very good, and even if the little princess really liked someone else, their friendship would still exist. He didn't expect that she would directly humiliate him like this. At this moment, Xiao Yu felt a little disheartened. Little Yu, don't mind her. Little Ling was just angry for a moment. An old man from the Donghuang clan spoke. Yu Changkong's talent is extraordinary, and he has also obtained the inheritance of the Time King. He has always been arrogant, and has been suppressing his pride until he defeated the experts from the Luotian clan. So what if he is a little arrogant? Which genius wouldn't be arrogant? Xiao Yu nodded lightly and didn't say anything. However, he was already filled with disappointment in his heart. Seems like the elders of the Donghuang clan also supported Yu Changkong. Who asked Yu Changkong to obtain the Time King's inheritance? Even the Time King left behind a message, saying that he would wait for Yu Changkong in the future. For such a character, even hegemonic-level world overlords would have to show him some respect. In addition, given the attitude Yu Changkong displayed to Dong Huangning, the Donghuang clan would definitely support them being together. As for Xiao Yu, what could he count as? Now you can see her attitude, right? Before this, I already said that if Wentian fought against Yu Changkong, her reply was extremely fake. 10 Miles Springwind laughed. He wasn't too disappointed. His judgment of people has always been very accurate, and he has seen many people like Dong Huangning before. Hence, this didn't affect his mood at all. He is merely a world overlord and hasn't become a sword monarch. There's no need to be so eager to form good relationships with him. No matter what, he is a character with status in the mystic region. Why don't you give yourself some face? Chao Tian didn't care about so much and directly rebuked those who spoke up for Yu Changkong earlier. Qin Wentian felt some warmth in his heart. Right now, many major characters in the convention all supported Yu Changkong. Dong Huangying's attitude could also be seen clearly. Only these friends who robbed the Dragon Pool Manor together with Qin Wentian still stood by his side. Sometimes, they would joke around and curse each other. Wasn't this true friendship? For such things, there was no need to intentionally do so. On the contrary, what Qin Wentian had said about the inheritance of the Lord of Time was ignored. This sentence caused no one to think too much about it. Clearly, it was said out of anger and was intentionally belittling Yu Changkong. But who would have thought that this casual sentence was actually the truth? The only person who had some suspicions was that hegemonic level world overlord from the Tiandao Sacred Academy. He had always been paying attention to Qin Wentian. Earlier, when Qin Wentian condensed his 8th astral soul, he had personally arrived and asked Qin Wentian what was his law attribute. Qin Wentian replied that it was the time attribute, and because he heard the legend of the God King of Time, he decided to condense a time-attributed astral soul. However, the time-attributed astral soul was extremely powerful. Could such an astral soul be condensed so casually? Did he suddenly go to condense it because he felt something? Qin Wentian didn't participate in this battle. Was he intentionally hiding something? Did his unintentional words just now reveal something? Strength is the best method to prove everything. If not, no matter how logical your words are, you still wouldn't have the authority to speak. The voice of the old man from the Tiandao Sacred Academy rang out in Qin Wentian's mind. He then transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian. Why don't you participate in the constellation battle? I don't think you are afraid of losing and losing face. The Ziwei Divine Court is a peak power in the mystic region, and is truly extraordinary. Do you have any misgivings? Qin Wentian started when he heard this. He glanced in the direction of the old man from the Tiandao Sacred Academy and replied, Senior, Junior is used to freedom and doesn't like to be restricted. If I become a disciple of a major power, I will definitely listen to their orders. You mean that you don't want to join a peak power in the mystic region? Hence, you are intentionally avoiding contact with the Ziwei Divine Court? That expert spoke, feeling somewhat strange in his heart. This fellow was truly interesting. You can put it that way. Qin Wentian didn't hide anything. He still had some favorable impression of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Hence he spoke frankly. In any case, even if these words were to spread out, it wouldn't be a big deal. Don't worry about it. If your performance is truly outstanding and attracted the attention of the Ziwei Divine Court, you can say that you want to go to the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation. The people of the Ziwei Divine Court wouldn't force you. Naturally, the Tiandao Sacred Academy wouldn't restrict you. If you want to go, you can do so. If you don't, it's fine. The old man laughed as he transmitted his voiceover. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. Given the old man's status, it was naturally impossible for him to intentionally lie to him. In that case, the old man must truly have the confidence that the Ziwei Divine Court wouldn't interfere in the matters of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The two of them communicated via voice transmission in an instant. On the other side, Yu Changkong has been watching everything from his seat in the constellation Lord's seat. His expression was still as carefree as ever, exuding an extraordinary aura. Countless world overlords in the convention saw everything. They were all thinking that although Qin Wentian was a supreme character, when compared to the inheritor of the Time King, he was clearly weaker. The people of the various powers naturally knew who they should support. I don't wish to explain everything Brother Qin has said, but since Brother Qin insulted and slandered me like this, no matter what the reason is, I can only request for another battle. Yu Changkong calmly spoke. This casual sentence was the most domineering declaration. No matter what Qin Wentian said, he wouldn't refute it and would settle it with a single battle. Strength was above everything else. Many people stared at Qin Wentian with interest, waiting to see him make a fool of himself. Should he reject the battle again? If that was the case, everything he said earlier would only be asking for humiliation. He simply wouldn't have the face to remain in the time realm. I will grant you your wish. Qin Wentian stepped out, flying towards the constellation sea. In an instant, constellation light enveloped his body. His white robes and long hair fluttered in the wind, in addition to his handsome features. Even for those who were unhappy with Qin Wentian, they couldn't help but to admit that this young man was extraordinary. Don't forget that back then, he once displayed 13 Heaven Heart mandates, and insta-killed the Heaven Chosen of the Dragon Pool clan, Long Yuan Haoyu. It's just that right now, the opponent standing before him was countless times stronger compared to Long Yuan Haoyu. This was a true peak-level world overlord, Yu Changkong. Yu Changkong has already experienced many battles. His world heart, the radiance of the moon, contained a supremely powerful sealing ability, capable of causing the entire space to freeze. His Heaven Heart Mandate attacks were tyrannical to the extreme. Their speed was inconceivably fast, and they were extremely powerful. Brother Qin, make your move. If not, if I release my World Heart, I'm afraid Brother Qin wouldn't have a chance to act anymore. Yu Changkong smiled. This is the true you. There's no need to mask your arrogance. After experiencing so many battles, you have to appear humble and magnanimous after every battle. Are you tired? Qin Wentian stared at Yu Changkong as he spoke. Haha, since Brother Qin says this, I can only be arrogant for a while. Yu Changkong laughed uproariously. As the sound of his voice faded, his World Heart and innate Heaven Heart Mandate were released together. In an instant, that desolate light enveloped Qin Wentian, as well as this entire space, sealing everything. Qin Wentian only felt his entire body turning still. This Heaven Heart Mandate. Could it be that the source origin of time was infused within? Maybe. At this instant, Qin Wentian's World Heart was released. The power of his Heaven Heart Mandate enveloped this vast space. Qin Wentian's aura suddenly changed. Even though he was sealed, he was still like a divinity, the ruler of this world. This was Qin Wentian's World Heart. His will was like the will of the heavens, no one could defy it. At this moment, Qin Wentian could sense a killing intent. This killing intent originated from Yu Changkong's World Heart. Yu Changkong wanted to kill him. This caused Qin Wentian's eyes to flash with coldness. There shouldn't be a huge grudge between him and Yu Changkong, right? Was it because he said that Yu Changkong was shameless earlier that Yu Changkong wanted to kill him? In that case, wouldn't all the pretense Yu Changkong put up before this be seen through? Or could it be that there were other reasons he didn't know of? In truth, the true reason was that Yu Changkong suspected that Qin Wentian was the person the Time King was waiting for. Hence, if Yu Changkong killed Qin Wentian, no one would know of this secret forever. Numerous attacks that were faster than lightning shot out from the void, containing incomparably tyrannical might, directly penetrating Qin Wentian's body. Just when the tyrannical attacks were about to penetrate Qin Wentian's body, at this moment, Qin Wentian's body seemed to have moved. He was retreating with extreme speed. That incomparably tyrannical attack stopped before him, unable to hit him. He didn't move. The eyes of everyone flashed. Qin Wentian's body didn't move at all. However, that attack seemed to have no way to get near him, unable to land on him. It felt like it was so close, yet so far away. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with a terrifying coldness. In the next instant, a terrifying beam of light shot out from the void, directly appearing around Yu Changkong, wanting to penetrate his body. It was so fast that there was basically no way to block it. However, Yu Changkong's radiance was incomparably resplendent. When the attack was about to land on him, it would involuntarily halt, unable to advance any further. At the instant the two of them clashed, the eyes of many world overlords gleamed with sharpness. How powerful these two were. Their methods were similar, but they were completely different types of energy. Their World Hearts and innate Heaven Heart Mandates were both extremely powerful. Qin Wentian was imprisoned, but his opponent's attack couldn't even touch him. Yu Changkong stood there. The terrifying attack that shot out from the void would stop when it neared him. In that case, both of them had extraordinary World Hearts. Who was stronger exactly? Chapter 1794. The battle between Qin Wentian and Yu Changkong was the focus of attention in the convention. Even the geniuses of the other three constellation lords were paying close attention to this battle. As for Dong Huangying, Luo Shenlei and the others, there was naturally no need to say anything. Yu Changkong's World Heart is able to lock down everything. It's like a frozen space. It's impossible for any attacks to get close to him. It's undoubtedly a fool's dream for Qin Wentian to win against him. Dong Huangying coldly spoke. Even now, she still felt resentment in her heart. She was extremely unhappy with Qin Wentian. Luo Shenlei glanced at Dong Huangying coldly. Although she didn't wish for Qin Wentian to act, since the two of them were fighting now, she naturally hoped that Qin Wentian would be able to win. You can't move your body. How can you fight against me? Although your Heaven Heart Mandate is strong, it's impossible for you to even get close to me, let alone defeat me. At this moment, Yu Changkong spoke from afar. In the constellation sea, the distance between him and Qin Wentian was extremely far. But given how powerful world overlords were, their attacks could envelop an entire region of space. In my world heart, do you really think you can restrict me? Ignorant. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, he directly vanished from his original location and appeared in another direction. Yu Changkong frowned. This was a slap to his face. He coldly snorted. The light beam descended once more, wanting to lock down Qin Wentian. But at the next moment, Qin Wentian vanished again. It was like he didn't move, but rather, it was like he ignored the distance between him and Qin Wentian. Yu Changkong's expression was extremely cold. He stepped forward, yet he only saw Qin Wentian coldly staring at him. When his eyes opened and closed, the entire world seemed to change. Qin Wentian's aura suddenly changed. He was like a divinity. A formless energy directly bore down on Yu Changkong. At this moment, Yu Changkong felt his body being locked to the spot. He had no way to move. He frowned. He who was proficient in sealing energy was actually locked down by Qin Wentian. In my world heart, my will is the heavens surpassing everything. Qin Wentian said proudly, like an unreachable god. His body was surrounded by dazzling light, as if he was invincible. Lightning of light and darkness tore through space, like the most terrifying destructive energy in the world, shooting towards Yu Changkong. A thunderous boom rang out. Yu Changkong's body shone resplendently, causing the attack to stop. The entire space was filled with a desolate killing intent. It felt like there was a boundless killing intent traversing through the void, penetrating through everything as it shot towards Yu Changkong, wanting to tear the space he was in apart. Numerous beams of light shot out, ignoring all defenses, wanting to land on Qin Wentian's body. At this instant, all sorts of killing arts appeared in the constellation sea, exploding forth ferociously. These were all attacks from Qin Wentian's Heaven Heart mandate, incomparably violent and endless. In his world heart he could control everything. With a single thought, the killing energy from his Heaven Heart mandate would fill the entire space. In an instant, the initiative changed hands. Yu Changkong became extremely passive, and had to endure the never-ending barrage of attacks. Dong Huangying's expression changed. At this moment, a gigantic full moon rose from Yu Changkong's body. The desolate intent gushed forth once more, wanting to envelop this entire space. This full moon radiated boundless moonlight, causing the entire space to enter a state of stillness. All the attacks stopped. They were enveloped by the power of the full moon, unable to move. Moon eclipse. Yu Changkong spoke. In an instant, an incomparable moonlight radiated from him, absorbing all the energy in the surroundings. The boundless killing energy in the surroundings was instantly absorbed into the full moon, vanishing from sight. The Yu Changkong at this moment was like a god of the moon, someone that couldn't be profaned. The vast space froze. Everywhere the moonlight passed by, the flow of space seemed to have stopped. How powerful! This should be Yu Changkong's peak strength. Someone sighed in admiration. As expected of a genius who obtained the inheritance of the Time Monarch. The Time King is waiting for him in the future. This convention of the myriad realms this time around. We will be witnessing the rise of another character like the Sword Monarch. Although I didn't participate in the convention of the Sword Monarch back then, I'm sure his strength is only at this level, right? Many major characters praised. Such power, when used by a young world overlord, truly caused everyone to sigh in admiration. Upon hearing the praises of many people, Dong Huangying's furrowed brows relaxed. A smile appeared on her face as her beautiful eyes gleamed with a hint of adoration. The light of a firefly is ultimately unable to compete against the radiance of the moon. Dong Huangying was the first to speak, feeling even more complacent. Comparing Qin Wentian to a firefly, and Yu Changkong to the bright moon, she felt that this description was extremely appropriate. Back then, Sword Monarch was 10 times more powerful than him. Old Ghost coldly mocked. These people have never seen the Sword Monarch of the past before. Now that they saw a genius, they immediately compared Qin Wentian to Sword Monarch. This was simply ridiculous. Characters that could become heavenly deities. How could they be compared so easily? If that was the case, Wouldn't there be many heavenly deities appearing? Only those who could trample all geniuses beneath their feet would have the chance to become heavenly deities. Yu Changkong's eyes were cold as he stared at Qin Wentian. He was like a lofty god peering down at the masses as he coldly spoke. Is this your world heart? It's merely a so. However, it's already not bad for you to be able to persist until now. Next, it's time for the battle to end. The moonlight grew increasingly resplendent, illuminating this entire world. Qin Wentian was also enveloped by the moonlight, appearing incomparably tiny. All of Qin Wentian's attacks couldn't even withstand a single strike from the moonlight, as they directly vanished into nothingness. The so-called heavenly fate world heart is nothing more than a joke. Yu Changkong coldly spoke. The moonlight bore down on Qin Wentian, wanting to freeze him. A desolate killing intent gushed forth. This feeling was so clear. Slash. When the moonlight descended, Yu Changkong roared. A moonlight blade slashed out, slashing apart space, wanting to destroy Qin Wentian. But at this moment, Qin Wentian's body seemed to disappear into nothingness. When the killing intent vanished, he reappeared, and was still standing at his original location. This caused Yu Changkong to frown. This Qin Wentian was truly tenacious enough. His Heaven Heart mandate truly had many methods. But the ending wouldn't change. He was then the true God King of the Mystic region, a future monarch character. The God King of Time had misjudged him. Do you know what heavenly fate is? The silent Qin Wentian suddenly spoke, his words causing Yu Changkong to frown. He didn't understand Qin Wentian's words. Qin Wentian's world heart was named Heavenly Fate World Heart. It was named by an expert from the Tiandao Sacred Academy for him. What did Qin Wentian mean by asking this? Heavens will cannot be defied. Qin Wentian's lips trembled as he spoke once more. The instant the sound of his voice rang out, Yu Tianming only felt a terrifying sense of danger in the surrounding space. It was as though an extremely powerful energy was being brewed within him. Qin Wentian's fist at this moment shone with an incomparably resplendent light. The energy of the entire space frenziedly flowed into his palm. At this instant, the energy of the entire world seemed to be connected to his fist. His heavenly fate world heart seemed to want to fuse together with his innate technique. Yu Changkong had the power of a lunar eclipse, fusing his heaven heart mandate with his innate technique, allowing him to unleash a supremely powerful attack. How could Qin Wentian not have such an ability? Break. Qin Wentian punched out. At this instant, this punch seemed to represent the will of heaven's will. It couldn't be defied. It directly pierced through space, ignoring all energy as it bore down on the location where Yu Changkong was at. In an instant, the space there seemed to explode. Yu Changkong's expression drastically changed. He hurriedly retreated as his full moon shone with an incomparable radiance. Boom! A thunderous boom rang out as the full moon directly disintegrated, vanishing into nothingness. However, the might of that fist didn't dissipate. It wanted to shatter Yu Changkong's body into nothingness. In an instant, a terrifying storm gathered once more. The power of Qin Wentian's Heaven Heart mandate was like a primordial beast, frenziedly rushing towards Qin Wentian, wanting to devour Yu Changkong. At this moment, Yu Changkong had a feeling that Qin Wentian was right before his eyes. When he saw Qin Wentian lifting his fist again, Yu Changkong felt a sense of terror in his heart. It was like he could sense danger. The heavens and earth rumbled. Qin Wentian punched out again, penetrating through everything. At this instant, Yu Changkong's body glowed with a dazzling divine light, resembling the armor of the moon god, enveloping him. However, that tyrannical attack still blasted him into the ancient mountain far away. With a thunderous boom, Yu Changkong's body was smashed into the ancient mountain. At this moment, the expressions of everyone changed. It was an extremely fascinating scene. Qin Wentian didn't have time to care about the thoughts of everyone. He soared through the air, wanting to pursue. However, a figure directly appeared before Qin Wentian, blocking him. Victory and defeat have already been decided. Why must you be so overbearing? The person who acted was an expert from a subsidiary power of the Ziwei Divine Court. Although Qin Wentian defeated Yu Changkong, he still didn't want to see the successor of the ancient Time King die here. Qin Wentian glanced at him and didn't say anything. He acted so ruthlessly because of Yu Changkong's killing intent. This person had killing intent towards him. However, since he was blocked by someone, he didn't persist. He glanced at the miserable figure who walked out from the ancient mountain. I'm merely an ordinary world overlord of a world in the mystic region. You can't even be compared to me. What qualifications do you have to judge the world? Before this, I refused to fight you because I felt disdain. Yet you actually think that you are unrivaled in the mystic region? How laughable, ignorant and not knowing the immensity of the heavens and earth. Qin Wentian mocked. Yu Changkong's expression turned ashen, but he had no way to retort. Because he was defeated. At this moment, countless gazes turned to Qin Wentian. They initially thought that this victory would belong to Yu Changkong. He was the successor of the ancient Time King, and was extremely powerful. How could he be defeated? He should have suppressed Qin Wentian. But reality was like this. So what if Yu Changkong was the successor of the ancient Time King? He was still defeated by the Qingqing Realm Lord. What was fate? Heaven's will was unquestionable. How imposing was this? In this convention of the mystic region this time around, just this battle alone caused everyone's hearts to tremble. Chapter 1795. The Time King's successor would also be defeated by the Qingqing Realm Lord. Before this, when Qin Wentian challenged him, Qin Wentian rejected. Many people thought that he didn't dare to accept the challenge. But now, how ridiculous was that? Qin Wentian had such a powerful force. How could he not dare to accept the challenge? It was just that they still didn't understand. Since he was so powerful, why was he so low profile and unwilling to display his brilliance? Qin Wentian was like this in the past as well. Back then when the Heaven Heart Mirror descended, many geniuses went up to display their prowess, but Qin Wentian didn't. It was only because of the grudge between him and the Dragon Pool Manor that he finally stood out during the battle against Longyuan Haoyu. He unleashed 13 Heaven Heart mandates, letting the convention of the myriad realms know of his existence. Right now, there seemed to be a sense of déjà vu. He didn't have the heart to participate in the battle. Yu Changkong provoked him twice, but he finally stepped out and defeated the Time King's successor. This caused many people to have strange thoughts. He was so dazzling. In that case, when the Ziwei Divine Court chose their successor, who would they choose between Qin Wentian and Yu Changkong? Awesome! This battle can finally make those people who spoke earlier shut up. All of them relied on their status in the mystic region to criticize me, thinking that I'm infallible. How about now? This slap on their faces is truly resounding. Chao Tian spoke. Before this, many people who helped Yu Changkong to insult Qin Wentian all shut up. This battle was truly a slap on their faces. I really want to know what the person who called himself a friend is thinking now. 10 miles Springwind mocked. Many people turned their gazes to Dong Huangying. Dong Huangying's expression was extremely unsightly. This was truly a slap to her face. She kept saying that Qin Wentian was jealous of Yu Changkong, but what about now? Did Qin Wentian need to be jealous of Yu Changkong who was weaker than him? If he was jealous, he would have long since fought to defeat Yu Changkong. However, if it wasn't for Yu Changkong provoking him twice, he might not even have fought. This was basically disregarding Yu Changkong. Dong Huangying's expression kept changing. It was extremely fascinating. The experts from the Donghuang clan also stared at the dazzling white-robed figure in the air. He exuded magnificence and defeated the successor of the Time King, Yu Changkong. He was one of the most dazzling young world overlords in this convention. But because of Yu Changkong, Dong Huangying chose to forsake their friendship and supported Yu Changkong with no hesitation. Was this worth it? So what if he obtained a temporary victory? He is Yu Changkong and has obtained the recognition of the God King. The God King even said that he would wait for him in the future. Although he lost this battle, he would still be able to make a comeback in the future and wash away this humiliation. Dong Huangying felt extremely complicated in her heart. In the end, she found a reason to console herself. Her relationship with Qin Wentian had already broken apart. She didn't want to regret her choice. Hence, she still firmly believed that a single defeat didn't mean anything. He was the successor of the Time King and in the future, he would surely be more dazzling than Qin Wentian. This battle was merely a temporary victory. That was all there was to it. Qin Wentian didn't look at Dong Huangying. Since Dong Huangying has already made her choice, as the saying goes, those who walk different paths can't make plans together. From now on, they would just be strangers. There was no need for him to mock her. He once used the identity of a friend to persuade Dong Huangying to look at Yu Changkong clearly. If Dong Huangying truly had the heart, she should consider the words he said to her. She wanted to wait for a character like the Sword Monarch to appear before her and become her Dao companion. However, this was merely an unrealistic fantasy. It was impossible for Yu Changkong to become her Dao companion, because he had never obtained the Time King's inheritance. This was all a lie. Brother Qin's strength is extraordinary and your talent is outstanding. You are rarely seen in the mystic region. Yu Changkong, losing to you isn't an injustice. Although I spoke a lot of arrogant words earlier, it's unavoidable during times of war. Given Brother Qin's talent, you should have already occupied the position of a constellation lord. At this moment, Yu Changkong walked over. It was like the arrogant person who fought against Qin Wentian earlier wasn't him. This sudden change caused Qin Wentian to be stunned. He didn't regain his senses for a period of time. Earlier, this Yu Changkong was still exuding killing intent towards him. Such a sudden change, if one put it nicely, it meant that he was able to bow and submit when necessary. But if one put it bluntly, how shameless was this? The two words Brother Qin. How can a despicable person like you be qualified to address me in such a manner? Qin Wentian mocked. Aha, good. Since this is the case, I shall refer to myself as the Qingqing Realm Lord then. I will naturally remember my defeat today and remind myself that in the future, I will definitely fight you again to wash away the humiliation of today's battle. Yu Changkong calmly spoke. Good bearing. On the path of cultivation, who can remain undefeated for eternity? If you lose, you won't give up. At that time, you can make a comeback. A major character from the Donghuang clan spoke. How rare and commendable. A major character from the Donghuang clan spoke. That's right. He isn't like a certain someone who became so complacent after a single victory. Others respectfully address him as Brother Qin, but he was insulted as a despicable person instead. The disparity between them is obvious. Dong Huangying also spoke. She stood in Yu Changkong's position and naturally felt that whatever Yu Changkong did was right. Qin Wentian made her feel that a despicable person was intoxicated by success. Qin Wentian glanced at Dong Huangying as he silently shook his head. Seems like she has already fallen into his trap. Back then, he still thought that she was extremely intelligent and was proficient in using her advantage to win over the hearts of others. But now, she had fallen into Yu Changkong's trap. Naturally, it couldn't be said that Dong Huangying was stupid. She was indeed trying to win over the hearts of others. It was just that the person she was doing all she could to win over was Yu Changkong. She naturally wouldn't admit that she was wrong. How shameless. Chao Tian cursed in a low voice as a look of disgust appeared on his face. They were all people with status and prestige. It was inevitable for them to be so shameless. Earlier, Chao Tian was arrogantly humiliating Qin Wentian and now, he referred to him as Brother Qin. Could it be that Qin Wentian really had to treat him with respect? Could it be that Chao Tian couldn't see through Yu Changkong's disguise? If the one who won was Yu Changkong, would he still refer to him as Brother Qin? Most probably, he would continue to humiliate Qin Wentian. The Qingqing Realm Lord occupies the first Constellation Lord position, but there are still 3 more. Although I was defeated, I'm not willing to give up just like that. I still want to fight for it. Yu Changkong slowly spoke, his words causing Chao Tian and the others to start again. He truly wouldn't give up until he achieved his goal. Yu Changkong was going all out. No matter how others viewed him, he wanted to join the Ziwei Divine Court. Even if he was defeated, he didn't feel any shame at all. One could only say that this person's schemes were too deep. Shameless. Qin Wentian mocked. After that, he turned to everyone and spoke. Before this, I didn't want to fight because I didn't want to fight for the Constellation Lord position. There are countless geniuses in the mystic region. I, Qin, don't dare to claim that I'm unparalleled. I hope that the Constellation Lord position will be left to the truly dazzling geniuses. I'm willing to withdraw. Everyone was stunned when they heard this. Qin Wentian defeated Yu Changkong, but he actually didn't want to occupy the Constellation Lord position and enjoy the glory of being the center of attention. Instead, he wanted to withdraw. This truly caused everyone to be speechless. Given his strength and talent, it was very possible for him to become a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court. Could it be that the Ziwei Divine Court didn't hold any attraction to him? Seems like there's really a good place to go. A strange voice rang out. It was none other than someone from the Dragon Pool Manor. Many people immediately glanced over in the direction of Luo Shenlei. This was clearly hinting at the conjecture of everyone earlier. Qin Wentian wanted to leave the Mystic region and head to the Luoshan clan. Qin Wentian coldly glanced over. The Dragon Pool Manor had ulterior motives. If the Ziwei Divine Court knew of this, what would they think? Dong Huangqing coldly laughed. How ridiculous! Qin Wentian mocked. At this moment, in the direction of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, that expert from the Dragon Pool Manor calmly spoke. Everyone, no matter what, you are all characters with status and prestige in the Mystic region. You all better watch your words. The expressions of many people flashed. A major character from the Tiandao Sacred Academy actually spoke up for Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian has fate with the Tiandao Sacred Academy. He once cultivated in the Tiandao Sacred Academy when he was in the lower world. After the convention of the Myriad Realms, he would also head to the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation. Does anyone have any objections? That major character spoke again. This entire space instantly turned silent. Everyone was silent. The countenance of that expert from the Dragon Pool Manor alternated between shades of green and white. His face was smacked in public again. Qin Wentian wanted to enter the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation. Would he dare to say that he had any objections? The Tiandao Sacred Academy was a transcendent power in the Mystic region. Their disciples could be found all over the world. It wasn't a place their Dragon Pool Manor could afford to offend. If Qin Wentian wanted to head to the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation, it was only normal that he didn't join the Ziwei Divine Court. The cultivation environment there wasn't any inferior compared to the Ziwei Divine Court. No wonder Qin Wentian didn't participate in the competition for the Constellation Lord position. So it turned out that he was already valued by the Tiandao Sacred Academy and would head to the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation. Many people were enlightened, they understood everything. The people from the Donghuang clan were speechless. Dong Huangqing shut her mouth. No one dared to question Qin Wentian anymore. The position of the Constellation Lord should be taken by another genius world overlord of the Mystic region. Qin Wentian slowly spoke. His figure landed on the ground, causing many people to sigh in their hearts. There were countless world overlords in the convention. To many world overlords, the position of the Constellation Lord was an unreachable position. However, Qin Wentian actually gave it up so easily. The commotion caused by the competition between Qin Wentian and Yu Changkong, these two world overlords, temporarily came to an end. Very soon, there were people who went to the Constellation Lord position that Yu Changkong occupied earlier to continue accepting challenges. And just like what he said, Yu Changkong made a comeback and defeated another world overlord. Chao Tian and 10 Miles Springwind both silently cursed at how shameless Yu Changkong was. Even after being defeated, he still had the face to challenge Yu Changkong. If they were in Qin Wentian's shoes, they would want nothing more than to rush up and knock him down. However, Qin Wentian didn't have the mood to do so. He also wouldn't expose Yu Changkong. With Yu Changkong, a fake world overlord, the Ziwei Divine Court wouldn't pay attention to him. If it wasn't for Yu Changkong injuring Luo Shenlei, he wouldn't have stood out at all. Right now, it was naturally best for him to cultivate quietly. In the time realm, time flowed by. Many years had already passed. But according to the flow of time in the time realm, maybe only a few days had passed in the outside world. To cultivators, this was naturally a very good thing as they would have more time to cultivate. Sadly, they couldn't freely enter and exit the time realm. Today, there were no more battles on the Constellation Sea and Great Devil Battle platform. The heavenly deity mountain also calmed down. Everything seemed to be coming to an end. Qin Wentian had long brought his people back to his palace to cultivate, waiting for the convention of the myriad realms to end. Chapter 1796. Today, in the palace Qin Wentian was in, a resplendent light suddenly erupted forth as many people gathered here. At this moment, a figure walked out from the courtyard ahead. His features were delicate and handsome, radiating sunlight. Right now, a complacent smile could be seen in his eyes. Mingchen not bad. Qin Wentian praised. Jun Mingchen smiled. That's true. Senior brother, you have already broken through so long ago. I didn't cultivate for nothing after so many years. So it turned out that earlier, Jun Mingchen broke through and officially comprehended a world heart, becoming a world overlord. Another world overlord appeared beside Qin Wentian. You have to learn everything from your senior brother. Namfeng Yaoyue smiled. You directly comprehended a world heart before deducing a heaven heart mandate. This world heart should be extraordinary as well, right? Although Namfeng Yaoyue was happy, she also felt a trace of disappointment in her heart. The juniors all surpassed her. When she was an Azure Mystic, she was the matriarch of the Namhuang clan. Jun Mingchen laughed in a silly manner. I'm still thinking of a name for my world heart. Senior brother, why don't you help me choose one? I want to see what kind of world heart it is. Qin Wentian laughed. Right. Jun Mingchen nodded. After that, he released his world heart. In an instant, Qin Wentian and the others felt as though they were in a different world. This world belonged to Jun Mingchen. In this world, wind and clouds howled, lightning flashed, fire and ice coexisted. As long as Jun Mingchen willed it, the scenery of this world would change. Senior brother, take a look at my attack. Jun Mingchen spoke. Instantly, the boundless energy in the world started gathering. A terrifying storm appeared in the sky, howling angrily. All the energy in the world seemed to be gathering at one point, attacking in the same direction. It was like the might of the end of the world, extremely terrifying. However, at the next instant, everything vanished, transforming into nothingness. Jun Mingchen was still smiling as he stood there. His lips curled up in satisfaction. It has been so many years, and he has finally broken through to the world overlord realm. He was naturally very happy and even felt a little complacent. You possess world energy. This scene is so terrifying, it's like the end of the world has arrived. Since your world heart is extraordinary, let's name it Apocalypse. Qin Wentian said. Jun Mingchen's eyes flashed as he smiled and nodded. Alright, let's name it Doomsday. This name sounds domineering. Seems like I have to get some wine from 10 Miles Springwind to celebrate. Qin Wentian said with a smile. Jun Mingchen said. You want to rob him of his wine again. You are trying to kill him. That fellow is definitely hiding a lot more. Qin Wentian transmitted his voice to inform 10 Miles Springwind. Very soon, his friends all came over to join in on the fun. They got Jun Mingchen to release his world heart to take a look, and all of them were full of praises for Jun Mingchen. After the banquet was prepared, the group of them sat in the pavilion of the palace and drank wine, completely ignoring what was happening outside. In the central region of the time realm, even if the heavens and earth were turned upside down, it had nothing to do with them. Such a state of mind was truly rare. Seems like the convention of the myriad realms is about to end. The battles on the Devil Battle platform are extremely intense. The clashes between Empyreans are truly fascinating. At the banquet, Chao Tian spoke. That's true. Wentian, do you still remember the absolute beginning overlord in the inn? Do you still remember back then when he invited you to my inn but you rejected him? He was extremely unhappy back then. 10 Miles Springwind laughed. Qin Wentian nodded. At that time, there were many world overlords in the 10 Miles and paying a visit to a supreme world overlord. That supreme world overlord was none other than the absolute beginning overlord. If 10 Miles Springwind didn't mention it, Qin Wentian would have forgotten about it. That fellow really thinks that he is very strong. He went to the Devil Battle platform to challenge a hegemonic level world overlord from the Chao clan. But in the end, the hegemonic level world overlord unleashed his Heaven Heart mandate and blasted him to the point where he coughed out blood. Many of the so-called hegemonic level world overlords have an undeserved reputation. But from this, one can tell that the disparity between world overlords is simply too great. Even if you are already very powerful, there are still world overlords who are stronger than you who can easily suppress you. 10 Miles Springwind sighed. This time around there are indeed many experts. But the battle between Qin Wentian and Yu Changkong is definitely something that everyone will remember. Phoenix stared at Qin Wentian as she giggled. This time around, you have truly become famous in the Mystic region. After the convention ends, the name of the Qingqing Realm Lord would surely circulate. Qin Wentian smiled and didn't say anything. At this moment, a beam of light descended from the sky, resembling a divine radiance. The gazes of everyone froze as they inclined their heads and stared in that direction. Old Ghost narrowed his eyes as he mumbled in a low voice. The people from the 3 hegemonic powers have arrived. Seems like the convention is nearing its end. Do you want to go and take a look? Phoenix laughed. There's nothing to see. How can it be as enjoyable as drinking wine? Chao Tian spoke heroically. How magnificent. Pity my wine. 10 Miles Springwind felt pain in his heart. At the center of the time realm, the attention of everyone was focused on them. The experts from the 3 hegemonic powers were as common as clouds. The experts from the 3 hegemonic powers arrived, attracting countless gazes. Countless world overlords in the entire convention all headed there to spectate. The palaces were all empty except for the palace where Qin Wentian was in. The few of them were still drinking to their heart's content, creating a beautiful scenery. Qin Wentian and the others didn't care about what happened there. Since Qin Wentian decided to give up on fighting for fame and fortune in the convention, his heart would naturally be as calm as still water. This time around, he already felt that his harvest for the convention was extremely bountiful. In fact, it could even be considered an unexpected pleasant surprise. Everything else was no longer that important. In the central region of the time realm, some people were extremely dazzling, exuding boundless magnificence. Even for Yu Changkong, who was once defeated by Qin Wentian, his wish was finally fulfilled. The Ziwei Divine Court invited him to join their ranks, becoming the center of attention of everyone. Although he was defeated once, his future was still destined to be glorious. As for the Qingqing Realm Lord, no one seemed to care about him. Back then, although he defeated Yu Changkong and obtained the position of the Constellation Lord, he took the initiative to give it up, and would head to the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation. This matter naturally couldn't be hidden from the Ziwei Divine Court. Hence, the Ziwei Divine Court didn't mention Qin Wentian. In the crowd, Dong Huangying's beautiful eyes stared at the young man who was highly regarded by the Ziwei Divine Court. Pride could be seen in her eyes. So what if he was defeated before? He could still endure the humiliation and make a comeback. Right now, he finally joined the Ziwei Divine Court, and even had the chance to meet a heavenly deity. His future accomplishments would surely be incomparably glorious, and he would become a future monarch. There was no need to doubt that he would surpass Qin Wentian. The heavenly deity mountain also accepted several transcendent level world overlords. They were all people who had good encounters in the heavenly deity mountain, and were suitable to cultivate there. Their talent was also extremely high. Only the Great Devil Divine Palace didn't accept any disciples. That person who obtained first place on the Devil Battle platform, and sat on the Devil Throne, obtaining the Devil God Armor and Devil God Spear, was a hegemon of the Devil Path. He was the master of the Myriad Devil Realm, and was known as the Myriad Devil Realm Lord. His strength towered up into the sky, and he defeated many hegemonic level experts. Naturally, there were also some extremely powerful hegemonic level experts who didn't participate. Finally, the 3 hegemonic powers announced that the convention of the Myriad Realms has concluded. Next, the 3 hegemonic powers will release some cultivation arts for everyone in the time realm to cultivate. For those who are willing to stay behind, they can cultivate for 100 years in the time realm, starting from the day the time realm opens. Because during this 100 years in the time realm, the flow of time in the time realm would be the fastest. In the outside world, only a year might have passed. To those who needed time to cultivate, this by itself was already an extremely great reward, allowing them to cultivate for close to 100 years more compared to the people in the outside world. Who wouldn't be willing? Maybe, only those hegemonic level characters wouldn't mind it. 100 years more or less, to them, it didn't really matter. Wentian, do you plan to cultivate in the time realm, or do you want to leave? 10 miles Springwind asked Qin Wentian. I've only cultivated for roughly 500 plus years now. With close to 100 years of time, it's equivalent to 1/5 of my lifespan. Do you think I'd be willing to leave? Qin Wentian laughed. To him, this was even greater compared to joining the Ziwei Divine Court. If he cultivated in the time realm, time would pass very slowly in the outside world. He would have wasted so many years of cultivation time. This fellow, you are mocking Old Ghost again. 10 miles Springwind laughed. Old Ghost ruthlessly glanced at 10 miles Springwind. This bastard actually used Qin Wentian's name to mock him. Close to 100 years, I definitely have to stay behind. Jun Mingchen also sighed. Okay, we will stay behind to accompany you guys. 10 miles Springwind casually spoke. In any case, not much time would pass in the outside world. They might as well stay here and cultivate. Everyone didn't have any objections. However, I still have something I need to settle in the outside world. If the time is up, I might leave in advance. If you guys want to cultivate, I can wait for you guys in Time City. Qin Wentian spoke. Right now, only a few days should have passed in the outside world. But after his uncle arrived in Time City, he would definitely head out. I don't mind. 10 miles Springwind casually spoke. Not only for them, the vast majority of people chose to stay behind. Only some major characters at the peak chose to leave. 100 years of time didn't hold much attraction to them. In the time realm, there were countless world overlords and it was still extremely lively. In addition, the 3 hegemonic powers sent over many cultivation manuals for the world overlords in the time realm to comprehend. Unknowingly, time flowed by. Qin Wentian was in closed-door seclusion in the time realm, comprehending the laws of time, and attempting to fuse them into his world heart. If he did so, his new world heart would be even more terrifying. However, the higher the world overlord's cultivation level, the higher the difficulty would be. It wasn't something that could be accomplished in a short period of time. Tens of years later, the vast majority of world overlords in the time realm were still around. It was said that only a few months have passed in the outside world. However, this was a minor matter. Today, a shocking piece of news circulated around the time realm. The source of this news came from the Donghuang clan. After the successor of the Time King, Yu Changkong left, he headed to the Ziwei Divine Court. During these few months, he passed some tests in the Ziwei Divine Court and now, he was accepted as a disciple by a heavenly deity. For a period of time, he became one of the young men with the strongest background in the mystic region. He was incomparably dazzling. It was unknown how many people were envious of him. After Qin Wentian learned of this news, he shook his head and smiled. Most probably, the Ziwei Divine Court didn't wish for another character like the Sword Monarch to appear out of control. Naturally, Yu Changkong's talent was also very outstanding. Not long after this news circulated out, Yu Changkong actually made an exception and returned to the time realm. Disciples of heavenly deities naturally had special privileges. This time around, his purpose for coming here was to propose marriage to Donghuang Ying. The Donghuang clan immediately agreed. For a period of time, Yu Changkong became the focal point of countless people. He was the successor of the Time King, the son of a heavenly deity, a disciple of the Sun-Moon Sacred Mountain, the son-in-law of the Donghuang clan. Right now in the mystic region, how many young geniuses could be mentioned in the same breath as him? Chapter 1797. Yu Changkong's name shook the time realm. When he returned, Qin Wentian was currently in closed-door seclusion. He was trying to comprehend his heavenly fate world heart, and was attempting to infuse the source origin of time energy into it. Qin Wentian had a Dao bone in his body. After several tens of years of insights, his attainments in the time-attributed laws were extremely high. In fact, he even managed to fuse his insights into many Heavenheart mandates, creating an even more terrifying Heavenheart mandate. It was unknown how much his attack prowess had increased. But because the time-attributed laws were ethereal, up until now, he still hasn't completed the transformation of his world heart. It was like he was still lacking something. The heavenly fate world heart itself was already an extremely powerful world heart. If it was added with the power of time, according to what Qin Wentian wanted to achieve, it would definitely be extremely terrifying. Maybe, it would allow him to transform from a transcendent-level world overlord to a character who had a chance to contend against hegemonic-level world overlords. Naturally, this was only in theory. He had never truly fought against hegemonic-level world overlords before, and had only seen their battles before. They were truly extremely powerful. Even the weakest world overlord would have a world heart that was ridiculously strong. Unable to comprehend it for a long time, Qin Wentian had no choice but to temporarily end his seclusion and prepare to rest for a period of time. Qin Wentian just exited seclusion, and when he came outside, he saw a figure walking over. She was clad in phoenix robes and exuded a sense of nobility and holiness. This person was none other than the Southern Phoenix matriarch, Namfeng Yaoyue. At this moment, an extremely bright smile appeared on her beautiful face. As noble as she was, she seemed to be unable to hide her joy at this moment. She looked at Qin Wentian and said, "I've broken through the realm." Qin Wentian started. He stared at Namfeng Yaoyue and as expected, her aura became even more outstanding. He involuntarily smiled. "My wish has finally come true." "Yes." Namfeng Yaoyue nodded. Her beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian as she smiled. "Wentian, thank you." "Yaoyue, don't forget how we came here. Back then, you were the empress and helped me a lot," said Qin Wentian with a smile. "Yes, but you don't know what breaking through to the next level means to us, the people of Qingxian." Namfeng Yaoyue sighed. Once they pursued the ancient emperor realm, but now, they were already world overlords of an area. In the past Azure Mystic, they were already gods. If it weren't for Qin Wentian, she might never have achieved such achievements. It's only a matter of time. There will be a day when everyone in Azure Mystic will step into the world overlord realm. Qin Wentian smiled. Not only for the Southern Phoenix matriarch, a few years ago, a devil cultivator from the Myriad Devil Islands, and an expert from the Battle Saint tribe also broke through to the world overlord realm. The number of world overlords around him gradually increased. Qing'er shouldn't be too far away from breaking through to the next realm. She was currently working hard to break through to the sector lord level. "I'm so angry." At this moment, a white bolt of lightning shot towards Qin Wentian. It was Little Rascal. This fellow was as unreliable as ever. Qin Wentian caught him and asked, "Who made you angry again?" "Earlier, I got that fellow 10 miles to bring me and Purgatory for a stroll outside. I know that Yu Changkong has returned to the time realm. Right now many people are discussing you and Yu Changkong. Many of them feel that Yu Changkong was merely defeated temporarily, and would definitely surpass you in the future, becoming a monarch character. That loser, what qualifications does he have?" Little Rascal angrily spoke. Qin Wentian involuntarily laughed. He shook his head. "Little fellow, why do you care about these things? You only know how to laze around every day. If you have so much free time, why don't you focus on your cultivation, and become a world overlord as soon as possible?" As for Yu Changkong's matter, he didn't really care about it. Just let him be. As for the words of the people outside, could it be that he could control their mouths? After Yu Changkong entered the tutelage of a heavenly deity, let alone people discussing about him, there were most probably many people who were trying to flatter him. In truth, it was just like what Qin Wentian had expected. Right now, the Donghuang clan's palace was filled to the brim. Experts gathered here to offer their congratulations, including many hegemonic characters of the Mystic region. Other than giving face to the Donghuang clan, it was also because Yu Changkong was in the palace right now. The Donghuang clan's palace prepared a banquet, inviting everyone. Yu Changkong was like the moon surrounded by stars, exuding boundless glory. However, he still maintained his humility and was extremely polite. I heard that Yu Changkong has only cultivated for over 800 years, not even 1,000 years, yet he already has such shocking accomplishments, and even entered the tutelage of a heavenly deity. I can already see the rise of another sword monarch. That's only natural. The Time King is a legendary character. He knows the past and the future. Back then when Sword Monarch participated in the convention, the Time Monument inscription appeared. Sword Monarch comprehended it and rose up. This time around, the Time Monument inscription appeared again, and Yu Changkong comprehended it. There's no need to say anything, everything is already destined. Although I've always felt that the Donghuang clan is a peak power in the mystic region, this time around, I still have to say that the Donghuang clan will have a good son-in-law. The atmosphere here was extremely lively. The experts of the Donghuang clan all had smiles on their faces. As the ruler of an immortal realm, the Donghuang clan was already at an extremely high position. What was the only thing they lacked? A heavenly deity. That would be the ultimate goal of their Donghuang clan. Right now Yu Changkong appeared. Although he wasn't a descendant of the Donghuang clan, if he married Dong Huangying, as the son-in-law of the Donghuang clan, how close would their relationship be? Because when Yu Changkong proposed marriage, the Donghuang clan didn't hesitate to agree. Seniors, there's no need to praise him anymore. If not, he would become complacent. Dong Huangying smiled. During these few days, her glory was boundless, even surpassing the glory brought by the little princess of the Donghuang clan. All of this was brought about by Yu Changkong. Her judgment wasn't wrong. Even now, she was still brooding over the matter regarding Qin Wentian. Time would prove everything, proving that she was right. She chose Yu Changkong's friendship and gave up on Qin Wentian. In addition, she would become Yu Changkong's woman. Haha, the little princess hasn't married into his family yet, but she is already speaking up for her future husband. Everyone laughed, causing Dong Huangying to blush. The banquet continued, and the number of visitors was endless. The Donghuang clan didn't reject anyone and welcomed all of them. Naturally, ordinary world overlords also knew their own limits. This wasn't a place they could come to. What status did Yu Changkong have now? Other than important characters, he would receive them. For those world overlords whose statuses weren't high enough, they wouldn't even be able to meet him. It was naturally impossible for him to keep them company at the banquet. At this moment, he was currently in the backyard of his palace, receiving a group of experts. These people were from the Dragon Pool Manor in Time City. Actually, given the status of the Dragon Pool Manor, it wasn't high enough for them to pay a visit to him. However, he still received them. Young Master Yu's magnificence is unparalleled. The most dazzling character in the convention this time around is none other than young Master Yu. An expert from the Dragon Pool Manor laughed. Such words of flattery came out from his mouth, but he didn't feel that it was beneath his status at all. Senior is too polite. I'm still lacking in many areas. Back then, wasn't I defeated by someone? Also, when I wanted to express my goodwill, I was humiliated in front of everyone. Yu Changkong smiled. It was like he wasn't talking about himself. The eyes of the people from the Dragon Pool Manor flashed. This Yu Changkong actually took the initiative to expose his shortcomings? What was his intention? It's just a moment of success or failure. How can there be a conclusion? As for that person slandering young Master Yu, there's no need to care about it. He is merely a bandit, and is incomparably despicable. He even dares to doubt the character of others. An expert from the Dragon Pool Manor coldly spoke. Oh yeah, does the Dragon Pool Manor intend to give up on the matter regarding the Heaven Immortal Tower? Yu Changkong suddenly asked. The expert from the Dragon Pool Manor stared at Yu Changkong in bewilderment. After that he replied, what can we do if we don't give up? He has already allied himself with the Luotian clan, and will head to the Tiandao Sacred Academy for cultivation. My Dragon Pool Manor doesn't dare to act against him. When has the hegemonic powers of the desolate region had the right to interfere in the matters of my mystic region? Yu Changkong coldly snorted. As for the Tiandao Sacred Academy, the Qingqing Realm Lord robbed the Heaven Immortal Tower. This is a personal grudge between the Dragon Pool Manor and him. The Tiandao Sacred Academy shouldn't interfere too much, right? The eyes of the expert from the Dragon Pool Manor gleamed sharply as he stared at Yu Changkong. Yu Changkong's hint was getting more and more obvious. Seems like Yu Changkong was very unhappy with Qin Wentian. The Dragon Pool Manor has developed for countless years, but we still have no way to become a peak power. In truth, we still lack a backer. In the future, if there's a chance, I will say a few words in front of my master, and see if we can recommend the Dragon Pool Manor to the Ziwei Divine Court. Yu Changkong casually spoke, making a promise that was dispensable. After chatting for a while more, the expert from the Dragon Pool Manor stood up and bade farewell. When he left, his heart was filled with unease as he silently cursed Yu Changkong for being a despicable person. But this despicable person had extremely high talent, and now, he has even joined a heavenly deity's tutelage. This was a truly dangerous character. It was better to offend a gentleman than to offend a despicable person. If the Dragon Pool Manor didn't follow Yu Changkong's hint, given Yu Changkong's character, would he look for the Dragon Pool Manor to settle the debt in the future? This was extremely possible. In addition, if they followed the hint, there would be great fortune for them. From then on, the Dragon Pool Manor would join the Ziwei Divine Court. In that case, what choice should the Dragon Pool Manor make? Yu Changkong didn't say anything, but in truth, he had already said everything he needed to say. After the people of the Dragon Pool Manor left, Dong Huangying walked over and asked in a light voice, "What did you discuss with them?" "What can there be to discuss? I casually chatted for a while, and sent them away." Yu Changkong smiled. He walked towards Dong Huangying and stretched out his hand, placing it on her face, gently caressing it. Dong Huangying instantly blushed as she lowered her head. Yu Changkong smiled as he pulled her into his embrace. Dong Huangying's heartbeat quickened. She had never been so intimate with a man before. "Being able to have you as my wife, I have no regrets in this life. In the future, if I stand at the peak, you will follow me to the peak and gaze down at the scenery of the world, enjoying supreme glory." Yu Changkong spoke in a gentle yet tyrannical manner. Dong Huangying only felt waves of emotions surging in her heart. After that, Yu Changkong carried her up. Dong Huangying's body trembled, but she didn't struggle. Her beautiful eyes flashed with determination. Since she has already made her choice, what was there to regret? She firmly believed that her choice was incomparably correct. Her man would definitely ascend to the peak. Chapter 1798. Right now, Qin Wentian wasn't interested to know about Yu Changkong and Dong Huangying's matters. As for the conversation between Yu Changkong and the Dragon Pool Manor, he had no way to know. In the palace, Qin Wentian was still quietly cultivating. At the same time, he maintained his connection with Luo Shenlei. Before her father arrived, Luo Shenlei was also in the time realm. She could be considered to be waiting together with Qin Wentian. As for Jun Mengchen, who had just broken through, he naturally wasn't willing to be lonely. He and Little Rascal would often roam the outside world, trying to gain insights from the cultivation treasures the three hegemonic powers left behind. At this moment, Jun Mengchen, Little Rascal and Purgatory were standing before a stone monument, trying to comprehend the laws within. Not only for them, even Nanfeng Yaoyue and Nam Huang Yinshi were here. Although the convention of the myriad realms has already ended, the time realm was still incomparably lively. There were many opportunities for good fortune, and they naturally wanted to roam the time realm frequently. "Mengchen, are you able to comprehend it?" Nanfeng Yaoyue asked Jun Mengchen. "It's a little difficult, I can't see through it. I'm afraid I will need a very long time to comprehend it." Jun Mengchen frowned. Nanfeng Yaoyue nodded. At this moment, a few figures walked over from behind them. Their auras gushed forth. Jun Mengchen, Nanfeng Yaoyue, and the others turned their heads only to see the gazes of the other party landing on them. Their expressions were somewhat cold. "Everyone, do you guys have any business with me?" Jun Mengchen asked. "Spatial prison." A cold voice rang out. In the next instant, the other party's Heaven Heart mandate directly erupted forth. Jun Mengchen and the others were instantly enveloped by the spatial prison. The pressure made it so that they couldn't move. Nanfeng Yaoyue's expression instantly changed. They didn't say anything and directly acted. Clearly, they came prepared. She released her world heart but discovered that within the spatial prison, her world heart was directly suppressed, unable to unleash its might. The spatial prison of the other party could even imprison the world hearts of others. Boom! A terrifying world diagram appeared. Jun Mingchen gave a loud roar as his world heart violently erupted forth, breaking through the suppression of his opponent's spatial prison. A world appeared, enveloping everything, enveloping his opponent within. Jun Mingchen's world heart was also born from his own comprehension, and wasn't something derived from his heaven heart mandate. It was considered a transcendent world heart, and its might was naturally powerful. Who are you people? Jun Mingchen stared at them and asked. Another expert walked out from the back. His eyes were terrifying as he stared at Jun Mingchen. He didn't expect that there would be a transcendent level world overlord beside Qin Wentian. Luckily, they came prepared. So what if Jun Mingchen's world heart was extraordinary? Wentian, there's someone who wants to kill us. Little Rascal was extremely quick-witted. At the instant his opponent and Jun Mingchen were in a stalemate, Little Rascal instantly took out his messaging crystal to inform Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian, who was in the midst of his cultivation, instantly opened his eyes as a cold light gleamed within. An extremely cold intent erupted forth. What was going on? Why did someone still dare to act against them? A terrifying coldness enveloped the entire palace. Numerous figures flashed over, and they only saw Qin Wentian soaring up into the air, directly fleeing into the distance. What's wrong? Mo Qingqing and the others all walked out, staring at Qin Wentian's departing back. Princess Kitamura and the other world overlord's silhouettes flashed as they directly soared into the air and chased after him. Qin Wentian didn't even say a word and directly left. Something major must have happened. Qin Wentian's speed in the air was extremely fast. He was like a white bolt of lightning, traversing through space in an instant. The speed of world overlords was simply too terrifying. Not long after, he sensed a tyrannical aura ahead of him. He directly released his immortal sense, and saw that Jun Mingchen was currently fighting against an expert. At this moment, Jun Mingchen released his world heart. The might of the Apocalypse world heart was extremely powerful, gathering boundless world energy into a single point. When he unleashed his attack, the impact was even more shocking. That entire space seemed like it was about to shatter. Terrifying chi currents flowed frenziedly, attracting the attention of many world overlords. It was very rare for battles to erupt in the time realm. After all, everyone was here to participate in the convention of the myriad realms. Under the eyes of the various hegemonic powers, it was best to keep a low profile. Even if there were grudges, they would temporarily endure it and settle it after they exited the time realm. Stay your hand. A thunderous roar rang out from Qin Wentian's mouth, directly echoing through the air. His figure soared through the air, coldly staring at those experts who acted against Jun Mingchen and his group. One of them saw Qin Wentian as a cold smile flashed in his eyes. The one they were waiting for was none other than Qin Wentian. People from the Dragon Pool Manor. Qin Wentian directly appeared before Jun Mingchen and his group. The battle stopped at this instant. The experts from the Dragon Pool Manor retreated, staring Qin Wentian coldly. Despicable. Jun Mingchen cursed in a low voice. The Dragon Pool Manor was like a ghost that refused to disperse. It was actually the Dragon Pool Manor again. Qin Wentian, you robbed my heaven immortal tower. Do you really think you can forget about this? Come with us and give us an explanation. An expert from the Dragon Pool Manor spoke. It has already happened once. This is the second time. A terrifying killing intent flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. The first time, Long Yuan Haoyu sent people to his residence to capture Mo Qingqing. This time around, he acted against Jun Mingchen and his group, challenging his bottom line time and time again. He initially thought that after he killed Long Yuan Haoyu, if the Dragon Pool Manor no longer provoked him, he wouldn't take the initiative to cause trouble for them. But now, it seems like he wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. In the surroundings, many world overlords came. However, they all stood far away and watched. So it turned out that this was a grudge between the Dragon Pool Manor and that genius world overlord. They didn't expect that after Qin Wentian displayed such talent, defeating Yu Chongkong and gaining the favor of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, the Dragon Pool Manor actually still dared to act against him? How domineering. However, could it be that the Dragon Pool Manor would rather offend the Tiandao Sacred Academy because they wanted to deal with Qin Wentian? Princess Kitamura was also rushing over. She was still in the air, but her immortal sense could already see Qin Wentian's location. But at this moment, her immortal sense suddenly sensed a terrifying energy. Her beautiful eyes turned over and stared in a certain direction. Over there, she only saw a person hiding in the void, holding a bow in his hands. This bow was made from dragon bones and the bowstring was made from dragon tendons, exuding an extremely fearsome energy. At this moment, that person lifted the bow. An extremely terrifying energy gushed forth from the bow as a destructive aura gushed forth. The target of this bow was none other than Qin Wentian. Careful! Princess Kitamura shouted. When Qin Wentian heard Princess Kitamura's voice, he instantly felt a terrifying aura locking onto him. So it turned out that this killer move had always been waiting for him in the dark. Acting against Jun Mingchen and the others was merely to lure him out. His heavenly fate world heart was instantly unleashed, enveloping a radius of 10 million miles. The entire space was within his world heart, extending the range of his world heart to an extremely far distance, and was still expanding outwards. Princess Kitamura rushed towards the archer. She could faintly sense that this bow contained a power that could threaten Qin Wentian's life. Frost appeared in the air, wanting to cause the temperature to drop to absolute zero, sealing everything in ice. Yu Huang, move away! Qin Wentian roared. He naturally could sense how terrifying the power contained within the bow was. This wasn't something Princess Kitamura could defend against. His silhouette flashed as he directly rushed over. Dang! The bowstring trembled lightly as the roar of a dragon rang out, shaking the heavens and earth. The frost energy in the air was directly shattered by the impact. A light sound akin to lightning rang out. The bowstring trembled as the dragon roar rang out. An arrow shot through the air, resembling the most terrifying lightning in the world, capable of breaking all laws in the world. Reverse! Qin Wentian roared. The Heaven Heart mandate in his heavenly fate world heart erupted forth, wanting to control everything. However, there was no way for him to do so. The bow that the archer was using was the world-breaking bow, able to break all laws. It was specially used to kill world overlords hiding in the void. With a single arrow, even ordinary hegemonic-level world overlords would die. The arrow shot through the air with inconceivable speed. Qin Wentian's eyes narrowed. It was like he could already see the arrow about to pierce through his body. At this moment, a figure appeared in his eyes, gradually becoming clearer. This caused Qin Wentian's expression to drastically change, as terror appeared on his face. Scram! Qin Wentian roared. The figure that appeared was actually Princess Kitamura. However, Qin Wentian was very clear that given Princess Kitamura's strength, it was basically impossible for her to block this arrow. She was simply courting death. Princess Kitamura unleashed the full power of her Heaven Heart mandate, wanting to freeze the arrow. However, it was completely useless. That arrow had an extreme speed and could penetrate through everything. She didn't even have time to unleash her full power. It was too fast, so fast that it was inconceivable. No! Qin Wentian roared as his expression changed. He watched as the arrow shot towards Princess Kitamura. After that, it pierced through Princess Kitamura's body. That incomparably resplendent beam of light was like the cruelest light in the world. Princess Kitamura didn't even feel anything. She didn't have the time to feel anything. Right now, she only had a single thought in her mind. She hoped that she would be able to buy some time for Qin Wentian to weaken the power of this arrow. At this moment, when Qin Wentian saw the arrow piercing into Princess Kitamura's body, his world seemed to slow down. In his entire world, only that scene remained. His heart felt like it was pierced through by the arrow as he felt an extreme pain. He truly hoped that he would be able to make it in time. However, everything happened too quickly, so fast that he couldn't react in time. Unless everything stopped. Stop. Everything. Can you stop? An extremely complicated thought flashed through Qin Wentian's mind. His world seemed to have come to a halt. Everything was moving so slowly. Time and space stop. A voice rang out in Qin Wentian's heart. At this moment, the gusts of wind seemed to have stopped. The violent currents of air also quietened down, no longer flowing. The arrow that pierced through Princess Kitamura's body with extreme speed also stopped. The arrow that should have directly pierced through actually slowed down to a stop. From afar, that expert who shot out the arrow originally wanted to shoot out another arrow. However, the movements of his hands suddenly halted. His hands couldn't move, his eyes couldn't move as well. Everything about his body seemed to have stopped. At this moment, many world overlords in the surroundings who were spectating were also enveloped by Qin Wentian's world heart. The wind blowing on their faces seemed to have disappeared. Their long hair no longer fluttered in the wind. Their beating hearts and exhaling breaths. At this moment, everything stopped. Chapter 1799. In this space, everything seemed to come to a complete stop at this instant. Everyone wanted to blink, but they discovered that they couldn't move their eyes at all. Only their thoughts were still operating. Other than their thoughts, everything else entered a state of absolute stillness. Huge waves rose up in their hearts. What terrifying world heart energy was this? This entire spacetime was frozen. Qin Wentian moved. In this situation where everyone was frozen, every minute movement in this space was magnified boundlessly. Even at this moment, Qin Wentian could still move. What did this mean? This meant that the ability to freeze spacetime was unleashed by Qin Wentian. This was a supremely powerful heaven heart mandate that fused the laws of time and space. Qin Wentian's comprehension of time and space had actually reached such a terrifying level. Those experts from the Dragon Pool Manor were the same as everyone else. They were all enveloped by Qin Wentian's world heart. When everything stopped and Qin Wentian took a step forward, they all knew whose ability this was. This was the power of Qin Wentian's heaven heart mandate that belonged to Qin Wentian. This supreme genius, the young world overlord who once defeated Yu Changkong, once again unleashed his unparalleled talent. In his world heart, time and space froze. What was Heaven's mandate? Heaven's mandate couldn't be described. His will was Heaven's mandate. Qin Wentian came to the side of Princess Kitamura and hugged her. That arrow that could destroy everything pierced through her chest. There was a terrifying destructive energy within, wanting to destroy everything. If it wasn't for the fact that time and space froze at this instant, her body might have already been crushed by that terrifying energy. Who told you to do this? Qin Wentian stared at Princess Kitamura. Princess Kitamura's eyes were also looking at him, but she couldn't move. She could only stare fixedly at him, unable to reply. Qin Wentian hugged her soft body tightly. He reached out his hand, closed his eyes and pulled the arrow out bit by bit. When he pulled the arrow out, his heart ached, as if the arrow had pierced into his body. A surge of life energy flowed unceasingly into Princess Kitamura's body. After that, his silhouette flickered again as he placed Princess Kitamura beside the Southern Phoenix matriarch. Wait for me for a moment. When he turned around again, his pitch-black eyes emitted an extremely cold killing intent. He naturally understood that from the start when the Dragon Pool Manor acted against Jun Mingchen and the others, their goal was to lure him out. After that, they didn't give him any chance and directly killed him. This was an extremely obvious trap. There was an extremely powerful character in the dark, wielding a divine bow and arrow that could ignore the power of heaven heart mandates and kill him. If it wasn't for the fact that his world heart underwent a transformation at the critical moment, that arrow would have directly killed Princess Kitamura. It was hard to say whether he would still be alive or dead. This was a well-planned trap. From this moment onwards, Qin Wentian understood that the enmity between him and the Dragon Pool Manor had already reached an irreconcilable state. Either you die or I die. Stepping out, Qin Wentian soared through the air, directly appearing before the powerful character wielding the bow. That person was also within Qin Wentian's world heart. The stillness of spacetime caused the world-breaking bow that could break all arts to freeze as well. When he saw Qin Wentian walking towards him, terror could be seen in his eyes that couldn't move. But at this moment, He didn't even have the chance to beg for mercy, because he had no way to speak. Qin Wentian picked up the arrow and waved his hand. With a swish, fresh blood splattered before it stopped. His opponent's head was directly decapitated, his body also stopped moving. This scene was extremely shocking. This was the anger of Qin Wentian. After keeping the bow and arrow, Qin Wentian continued on, moving towards the other experts of the Dragon Pool Manor. If these experts could move, they would surely be so frightened that they would tremble. Even for world overlords, they would still feel fear. Before death, who wouldn't feel fear? However, what use was fear? When they came here, everything was already destined. If Qin Wentian didn't die, the ones who would die would be them. And now, there was no doubt that the ones who would die would be them. In Qin Wentian's world heart, he was the heavens. Even time and space could stop. Qin Wentian was the god of this world heart, the ruler of everything. He lifted the world-breaking bow and shot it explosively towards the heads of the experts of the Dragon Pool Manor. The whistling sound of the arrow was extremely ear-piercing in the stillness of space. After that, numerous world overlords died. These powerful world overlords didn't even have the time to scream in agony. The stillness of space had no way to stop Qin Wentian's attacks. Because this was his world, he was the ruler of everything. When all the experts of the Dragon Pool Manor died, a gust of wind suddenly brushed past their faces. The thumping sounds of heartbeats could be heard. The eyes of everyone moved. The bodies of the world overlords in the surroundings trembled lightly. Naturally, it wasn't because of fear but because of intense shock. The Dragon Pool Manor laid out a death trap, wanting to kill the young Supreme World Overlord Qin Wentian. But in the end, all the experts of the Dragon Pool Manor died. That supreme character unleashed his world heart and heaven heart mandate that were comparable to hegemonic level characters. In his world heart, time and space froze. The world overlords of the Dragon Pool Manor stood there unmoving, allowing him to slaughter them one by one, unleashing his anger. Who? Someone let out a long sigh. The shock in his heart had no way to calm down. Qin Wentian was simply too powerful. Such talent could be said to be unrivaled. However, he actually wasn't willing to display his brilliance. He wasn't willing to become a disciple of the Ziwei Divine Court. Right now, it was rumored that Qin Wentian has already become a heavenly deity's disciple. Countless people sighed in admiration, and countless major characters went to congratulate him. But today, for those who personally witnessed Qin Wentian's battle, they all faintly felt that this world overlord who defeated Yu Changkong before was truly more outstanding compared to Yu Changkong. Even in terms of attainments in time, he most probably wouldn't lose out to Yu Changkong. If Yu Changkong was destined to become a character like the Sword Monarch, what about the Qingqing Realm Lord? Could it be that he couldn't do the same? Maybe, in this convention of the myriad realms this time around, two supreme characters would appear. However, at this moment, Qin Wentian didn't have the time to care about the thoughts of everyone. Right now he was beside Princess Kitamura, hugging her as he asked, "Yu Huang, why are you so foolish? Back then I didn't think too much about it. I just so happened to see someone using a bow to deal with you, and I wanted to stop him." Princess Kitamura casually spoke, as though this was a minor matter that wasn't worth mentioning. Qin Wentian was speechless. He stared at Princess Kitamura's haggard countenance. "Your injuries. It's fine. Although the destructive power of that strike was still passable, didn't you save me in time? I'll be fine after I recover for a period of time." Princess Kitamura's voice was as cold as ever, despite the fact that she almost died earlier. Namfeng Yaoyue, Jun Mingchen and the others all rushed over, their eyes flashing with the flames of hatred. The Dragon Pool Manor actually directly tried to kill him? What a ruthless method! If Qin Wentian didn't comprehend the ability to stop time, the consequences would be unimaginable. From afar, a powerful pressure gushed forth, causing the eyes of everyone to flash as they turned over. After that, they saw the experts from the Dragon Pool Manor arriving. The person in the lead was none other than the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. Right now his face was ashen. The person in charge of this assassination mission was his younger brother. However, his younger brother had the world-breaking bow with him, and should have been absolutely safe. But in the end the plan actually failed. Qin Wentian was still alive, But his younger brother and the experts from the Dragon Pool Manor had all died here. Staring at the heads rolling on the ground, his eyes turned red, flickering with an extremely cold killing intent. This assassination mission could be said to have completely torn apart all pretense of cordiality. There was no longer a need for pretense. A raging wind gusted as a few more experts appeared from the void, directly appearing beside Qin Wentian. It was 10 Miles Springwind and the others. Dragon Pool Manor. Chao Tian's eyes were cold to the extreme, staring in the direction of the Dragon Pool Manor as an intense killing intent flickered in his eyes. The Dragon Pool Manor actually directly tried to kill him, wanting to take Qin Wentian's life. And they had their own reasons for doing this. Although the reason for the conflict between Qin Wentian and the Dragon Pool Manor was because of a serving girl, they persuaded Qin Wentian to rob the Heaven Immortal Tower together with them. They once said that with Chao Tian's background, they would be able to suppress this matter, and the Dragon Pool Manor wouldn't dare to act. But in truth, the Dragon Pool Manor was determined to kill Qin Wentian. What a grand plan! Old Ghost also narrowed his eyes, staring in the direction of the Dragon Pool Manor. The Manor Lord of the Dragon Pool Manor radiated a terrifying might as he stepped out, causing the hearts of everyone in this space to tremble. The Manor Lord of the Dragon Pool Manor didn't mind personally acting to kill Qin Wentian? Could it be because of Longyuan Haoyu's death? Although Longyuan Haoyu was a genius world overlord of the Dragon Pool clan, it shouldn't be enough to cause such a commotion, right? The experts of the entire manor were all acting together just to kill the Qingqing Realm Lord. This seemed to be an irreconcilable grudge. Unless the Dragon Pool Manor felt that Qin Wentian was a threat to their survival. But in truth, no one had heard of Qin Wentian taking the initiative to do anything to the Dragon Pool Manor. Old Ghost, Chao Tian and the others flashed, directly appearing before Qin Wentian. The Manor Lord of the Dragon Pool Manor was a hegemonic level world overlord existence. There was no need to doubt how terrifying he was. Boom! A figure descended from the sky, resembling a heavenly deity. An incomparably powerful pressure enveloped this space. The person who appeared was an old man, and after he appeared, Luo Shenlei also appeared. Her expression was extremely cold as she stared at the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. Seems like the Dragon Pool Manor doesn't have my Luoshan clan in their eyes at all. Back then, I've warned the Dragon Pool Manor, but you guys still dared to act. This is a grudge between my Dragon Pool Manor and Qin Wentian. Why must the Luoshan clan of the desolate region interfere? Don't forget that this place is the convention of the myriad realms in the mystic region. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. This time around, if they succeeded in killing Qin Wentian, everything would be fine. But now they failed. Yu Changkong's hint wasn't completed, and the Luoshan clan and Chao Tian had clearly offended them greatly. They even lost several world overlords. Right now, with so many experts gathered here, it was almost impossible for them to kill Qin Wentian. I will remember your words. Don't forget them as well. Luo Shenlei stared at the Dragon Pool Manor Lord as she spoke. This caused the Dragon Pool Manor Lord to feel some regret. But since things have come to this, he had no other choice. Chapter 1800. The Dragon Pool Manor made a gamble because of Yu Changkong's words. They wanted to kill Qin Wentian in a single strike, directly eliminating him. Although they would face immense pressure in the future, Yu Changkong had hinted that he would use the power of the Ziwei Divine Court, allowing them to become a subsidiary power of the Ziwei Divine Court. In that case, regardless of the Tiandao Sacred Academy or the Luoshan clan, they wouldn't be able to act against the Dragon Pool Manor because of Qin Wentian's death. But now they failed. The pressure was still there. This maiden from the Luoshan clan had spoken. Qin Wentian would definitely hate them to the extreme. Their hatred would intensify, and it was unknown if Yu Changkong would still appear. They didn't expect the ending of this battle. They still couldn't kill Qin Wentian even after so many attacks. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord stared at the experts before him, and knew that things couldn't be done. He waved his hand, "Let's go." After speaking, the experts of the Dragon Pool Manor retreated. The assassination attempt this time around ended in failure. Qin Wentian's cold eyes stared at the departing experts of the Dragon Pool Manor. It was impossible for this matter to end like this. He had to settle this debt. Luo Shenlei's silhouette flashed as she appeared before Qin Wentian. It wasn't good for her to act too familiar with him. She calmly asked, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. My friend was pierced by an arrow and almost lost his life. That arrow can be considered to have pierced my body," Qin Wentian coldly spoke. From the instant that arrow was shot out, it was already destined that between him and the Dragon Pool Manor, only one side could exist in this world. There was no other possibility. The Dragon Pool Manor is in Time City. They won't be able to escape. Chao Tian coldly spoke. The Dragon Pool Manor was a hegemonic power in Time City and had resided here for generations. Just like what he said, they wouldn't be able to escape. "I'll return first. I will temporarily remember this debt," Qin Wentian spoke. Yu Huang was injured. He wanted her to rest and recuperate. "I'll go over too." Luo Shenlei spoke in a light voice. Qin Wentian nodded. He knew that Luo Shenlei was worried that the Dragon Pool Manor wouldn't give up their killing intent and would act against Qin Wentian again. "We'll go too." 10 Miles Springwind and the others also expressed their stance. In the future, they were prepared to be together with Qin Wentian and guard against the Dragon Pool Manor. The matter earlier absolutely mustn't happen again. The Dragon Pool Manor was so resolute in their actions, wanting Qin Wentian's life. This was something they didn't expect. Could there be some hidden story behind this? After Qin Wentian and the others left, the surrounding experts were in an uproar and began to discuss the previous battle. There were many world overlords among them who were trapped in Qin Wentian's world heart earlier. If they were Qin Wentian's enemies, the consequences would be extremely terrifying. I feel that the Dragon Pool Manor's actions today are too unwise. They are too impulsive and might offend a future supreme expert. A world overlord spoke in a light voice. "Yeah, how young is the Qingqing Realm Lord? He has cultivated for less than 1,000 years, and is already a transcendent level world overlord. Also, his strength has already surpassed the boundaries of transcendence. In his world heart, even transcendent level world overlords would die. In this case, the Dragon Pool Manor would use all sorts of methods to kill the Qingqing Realm Lord. If not, when the Qingqing Realm Lord matures, that would be the doomsday of the Dragon Pool Manor. How can it be so easy? There's still the Luoshan clan. Don't forget that his friend Chao Tian is someone from the Chao clan." Many people discussed. For a period of time, the news of this battle swiftly circulated around the entire time realm. Many people knew about the situation of this battle. Other than Yu Changkong being accepted as a disciple by a heavenly deity and becoming the son-in-law of the Donghuang clan, there was also the Qingqing Realm Lord. Because these two supreme characters had fought before, more and more people started to compare them. In the past, although Qin Wentian defeated Qin Wentian before, as the news of Yu Changkong being accepted as a disciple by a heavenly deity circulated out, everyone felt that Yu Changkong's future would definitely be brighter compared to Qin Wentian. Don't forget, Yu Changkong also obtained the Time King's inheritance. But now many people didn't dare to be as sure as before. The current Yu Changkong shouldn't be able to stop time, right? Even if he obtained the Time King's favor. It was said that Qin Wentian condensed his 8th time attribute astral soul in the time realm. If not, the person who obtained the Time King's favor would most probably be him, and not Yu Changkong. He was merely a step slower. His talent was much more outstanding compared to Yu Changkong. Right now in the time realm, the hottest topic was the comparison between the two of them. Their supporters were evenly matched. Some people still believed that the disciple of a heavenly deity from the Ziwei Divine Court, Yu Changkong, would definitely be more outstanding, and would be a future monarch. There were also some who felt that the Qingqing Realm Lord would be indomitable, and wouldn't be inferior to Yu Changkong in the future. The news of this battle naturally circulated to the Donghuang clan's palace. After Yu Changkong learned of their defeat, he felt extremely unhappy in his heart. He silently cursed the Dragon Pool Manor for being trash. They couldn't even do such a simple thing well. The more outstanding Qin Wentian's performance was, the greater the threat to him would be. Right now, he could already be certain that the Time King's words were directed at Qin Wentian. The reason why no one doubted him was because he had passed the test of the Ziwei Divine Court. Who would dare to doubt the judgment of a heavenly deity? However, only he understood how dangerous that test was. If Qin Wentian didn't die, he would be in danger of being exposed. As long as he killed Qin Wentian, this secret would only be known to him alone. From then on, he would be the true successor of the Time King. However, the Dragon Pool Manor actually failed. Also, Qin Wentian also displayed his talent in time. Qin Wentian must have obtained immense benefits from the Time King, right? When he thought of this, he felt extremely angry. When he thought of this, he felt extremely enraged. Naturally, he still maintained a calm expression on his face. Right now, he was hugging a beautiful maiden in his embrace, quietly enjoying the tranquil time. He has already completely conquered Donghuang Ying and the Donghuang clan. From now onwards, the Donghuang clan would become his backing. With the support of the Donghuang clan, his status in the Ziwei Divine Court would also be more stable. I heard that he killed an expert from the Dragon Pool Manor, who was close to the hegemonic level. In his world heart, he froze time, causing the experts from the Dragon Pool Manor to have no way to resist at all. At this moment, Donghuang Ying, who was in his embrace, turned her head. Her beautiful eyes stared at Yu Changkong. In her heart, there was a faint worry. Since this man could defeat me, he naturally has his outstanding points. It's not surprising that we fought each other. Yu Changkong smiled, appearing extremely carefree, as though he didn't care at all. In any case, we are already together. Why are we discussing about others? Right now, I don't wish to cultivate and don't care about worldly affairs. I only wish to be accompanied by a beautiful woman. In terms of cultivation, I will naturally not be weaker than others. Upon hearing Yu Changkong's words, the worry in Donghuang Ying's heart dissipated. A charming smile appeared in her eyes. Wasn't Yu Changkong the person she liked the most? He was always like this, exuding boundless magnificence, and was filled with intense self-confidence. And now he even loved her so much. Your words sound nice, but I wonder if you will continue to treat me like this in the future. Donghuang Ying smiled. Naturally. Yu Changkong nodded. In any case, when have I ever said nice words? Isn't that so? A mischievous look appeared on Donghuang Ying's face. Since this is the case, I will have to perform well. Yu Changkong smiled mischievously. Donghuang Ying's face instantly turned red. After that, the two of them immersed themselves in an intimate moment, like immortals enjoying their time together. But who knew what Yu Changkong was thinking about when he was enjoying his beauty? After that battle in the Time Realm, everything seemed to be calm and tranquil. However, everyone understood that this matter was a symbolic starting point. Right now, there was most likely a storm brewing. It was just that no one knew when it would erupt. During these days, Qin Wentian stayed in his palace and didn't step out at all. He watched as Princess Kitamura recovered from her injuries. At the same time, he was also comprehending the power he comprehended. His heavenly fate world heart grew stronger and stronger. His will was heaven's will. He could stop time and space in his world heart. Other than this, his other heaven heart mandates also gradually transformed, fusing in the time-attributed laws and growing stronger. Another 10+ years passed in the Time Realm. During these 10+ years, Qin Wentian didn't go find trouble with the Dragon Pool Manor. The Dragon Pool Manor wasn't an ordinary power, and he wasn't the only one here. Mo Qing and his other family and friends were all here. Once a war broke out, he had no way to predict what the consequences would be. Hence, during these 10+ years, he silently cultivated until today when Luo Shenlei told him that her father has arrived in Time City. Qin Wentian immediately decided to leave the Time Realm. Everyone around him would leave together with him. Today, at the exit of the Time Realm, Qin Wentian and the others walked out and walked down the stairway. Turning his head and glancing at the stairway, Qin Wentian felt as though a lifetime had passed. Over there, he reunited with his younger sister. Over there, he received a message from the ancient godly monarch of the Time Realm. I'll be waiting for you in the future. Now he finally had to leave. The experiences during these years were extremely important to him. The convention of the myriad realms this time around would surely be an unforgettable experience for him. Elder brother. Father is staying in the inn where 10 Miles Springwind is staying. Luo Shenlei transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian. Clearly, she knew where Qin Wentian was staying. After she told her father also decided to stay in the 10 Miles Inn. MHM. Qin Wentian transmitted his voice in reply. Just so coincidentally, 10 Miles Springwind asked, "Where are we going?" "We will return to the inn and continue to live and eat for free. You don't have any objections, right?" Qin Wentian laughed. "You can eat for as long as you want. After you eat until I'm broke, you can go to the Dragon Pool Manor for a stroll." 10 Miles Springwind laughed. Upon mentioning the Dragon Pool Manor, Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with coldness. "Let's go." Qin Wentian spoke. After that, their silhouettes flashed as they sped towards the direction of the 10 Miles Inn. Because the convention of the myriad realms was about to commence, many of the guests of the 10 Miles Inn had all headed to the time realm. Right now, the 100 years haven't passed yet, and the inn was extremely quiet. However, a group of mysterious guests came to the 10 Miles Inn. Some of them seemed to be extremely powerful, giving off an unfathomable feeling. However, they were exceptionally quiet and had been staying in the inn, not going out at all. However, after so many years, the female attendants of the 10 Miles Inn had seen all sorts of guests before. She knew that these people were all major characters and naturally wouldn't disturb them. They also didn't have any strange thoughts. At this moment, a group of experts descended from the air. Many people in the inn smiled when they saw 10 Miles Springwind. The boss has returned from the time realm. Chapter 1801. After Qin Wentian returned to the inn, he first returned to his courtyard and settled everyone around him. After that, he silently left by himself and came to another courtyard. Luo Shenlei was waiting for him outside. After Qin Wentian entered, he immediately sealed this place. Her father brought people from the Luoshan clan and came to the desolate region. It was best for them to keep a low profile and not want others to know about this. In addition, Qin Wentian's identity was extremely sensitive. They mustn't let others know of their meeting. If not, if news of this was spread to the Heaven region, those major powers would easily be able to guess. Elder brother. After sealing the place, Luo Shenlei called out. Qin Wentian nodded, feeling a little nervous in his heart. He has cultivated for several hundred years, and this was the first time he was going to meet with his kin. His uncle, his mother's elder brother. He was filled with anticipation. What sort of character would his uncle be? He who came from the Luoshan clan. What sort of magnificence would he have? Would he be a hegemonic level world overlord character? Or could he be even stronger? He didn't know. But very soon he would know. Father is waiting for you in the courtyard. Let's enter. Luo Shenlei spoke in a light voice. Qin Wentian nodded. He didn't release his immortal sense and followed Luo Shenlei through the long corridor, arriving at the center of the courtyard. Before them, there was a group of people casually standing there. However, all of them gave Qin Wentian an extraordinary feeling. They were all unfathomable, and their strengths were definitely extremely terrifying. Elder brother. Luo Shenlei walked in front and called out. Qin Wentian stepped out together with Luo Shenlei and entered the courtyard. The environment of this courtyard was extremely elegant. There were pavilions and a small bridge over the flowing water. In the pavilion ahead, a figure could be seen quietly sitting on a chair. His gaze was currently fixed in this direction, staring at Qin Wentian who just entered. At the instant he saw this figure, Qin Wentian actually started, feeling a little disbelief. He almost thought that his eyes were playing tricks on him. It was a very weak middle-aged man with wrinkles on his face. Coupled with his head full of white hair, he looked even more lifeless. He was clearly middle-aged, but he looked like an old man without any vitality. He was different from Old Ghost. Although Old Ghost looked very old, his eyes were full of spirit, and there was energy hidden within them. However, the person in front of him seemed extremely ordinary. It could even be said that he was an ordinary person who could not cultivate and was entering old age. In this courtyard, he was the only one there. His cloudy eyes gleamed with a strange light as he stared at Qin Wentian. Evidently, this was his uncle, there was no one else. Qin Wentian had thought of many possibilities, but he didn't expect his uncle to be like this. Luo Shenlei was so outstanding. Her beauty was unparalleled and her talent was shocking. How could her father be like this? Why? Are you disappointed? The figure in front of him had a faint smile on her face as she looked at Qin Wentian's changing expression. Qin Wentian started. Disappointed? That wasn't the case. He wanted to see his uncle because they were related by blood, and the other party had acknowledged him. This was related to his strength. It was just that he was too surprised. This was completely different from what he had imagined. Elder brother, this is my father. Luo Shenlei softly spoke. Qin Wentian stared at the figure in front of him. He adjusted his mental state and drew in a deep breath as he called out, Uncle. Okay. The other party nodded heavily. His eyes were a little red. He stood up and walked towards Qin Wentian. His footsteps were very slow and weren't very stable. When he came to the side of Qin Wentian, he stretched out his hand and touched Qin Wentian's face with his fingertips, like he wanted to see Qin Wentian clearly. His fingers were trembling slightly. Similar, they really resemble each other very much. His eyes turned even redder, like he was thinking of the past, thinking of an old friend. His younger sister, the one who grew up together with him, the one whom he doted on dearly. Qin Wentian felt a little strange, and wanted to dodge. But when he thought of the fact that the other party was his uncle, his heart softened when he saw the reddened eyes of his uncle. You are too similar to your mother. Luo Shenyu's fingers trembled slightly. Although it has been many years since they last met, he could still remember that beautiful countenance. That was his younger sister, and had long been imprinted in his mind. It wouldn't fade away with the passage of time. Hence, when he saw Qin Wentian, he could naturally see the shadow of his younger sister. Uncle, you also don't know where my mother is? Qin Wentian asked in a light voice. This was the thing he wanted to know the most. Your mother is so ruthless. She actually abandoned everything and vanished without a trace. Luo Shenyu's voice trembled. He stared at Qin Wentian. I heard from Lei, or that your parents named you Wentian? This was the name they gave me. Qin Wentian nodded. Could it be that they didn't leave any clues for you? Luo Shenyu asked. After he learned of the news of Qin Wentian's existence, he felt extremely shocked in his heart. This meant that Qin Yuanfeng didn't die. In that case, although his younger sister had been missing for many years, she might still be together with Qin Yuanfeng. No. Uncle Black, who took care of me since I was young, might know some things, but he never told me. Now they have also vanished. Qin Wentian spoke. Uncle, what happened in the past exactly? What's going on with your cultivation base? He naturally understood that as a direct descendant of the Luoshan clan, Luo Shenlei's father and his mother's elder brother, it was impossible for him to be a cripple from birth. He clearly had the appearance of a middle-aged man, but his hair was completely white and his face was filled with wrinkles. He appeared extremely old and his aura was extremely weak. This was a sign that he had suffered an irreversible injury before. What happened in the past is actually very simple. Your mother and father got together, but they met with opposition. The Qin clan and Luoshan clan originally had grudges between them. How could the heaven chosen of the Luoshan clan be willing to marry into the Qin clan? And at that time, your father was in deep trouble and your grandfather was even more against it. The two of them actually eloped and abandoned everything, even destroying the immortal senses in their messaging crystals. However, although they left easily, the Qin clan didn't give up just like that. In order to find them, the Qin clan even came to our Luoshan clan, and even killed people of our Luoshan clan, all for the sake of finding out the location of your parents. Luo Shenyu narrated the past. Although Qin Wentian knew a little, he didn't know the exact details. Right now he was very serious as he listened to everything. Your grandfather was even more enraged and the conflict between him and the Qin clan intensified to an extremely serious extent. After that, your parents were actually found by the Qin clan. The Qin clan wanted to deal with your father, and for the sake of your mother's safety, your grandfather brought her back. Your father knew what happened between the Qin clan and the Luotian clan, and also knew that the Qin clan would use unscrupulous methods to find him. In a fit of anger, he killed his way into the Qin clan and died in battle. Qin Wentian clenched his fists tightly. There were even more complicated details in the story. He spoke. My father left behind many memories for me. The Qin clan has always been searching for his whereabouts. In fact, one of his clan brothers once fought against my father. The grudge between my father and that person started when he was young. Who is he? Haha, good question. Luo Shenyu suddenly laughed uproariously. That person is now the leader of the Qin clan. His name is Qin Zheng. When he was young, he was nurtured by the Qin clan as the successor, and is a heaven's chosen of the Qin clan. Your father has always been basking in his radiance, and I also know that when your father was young, he secretly fell in love with Qin Zheng. She is a heaven's chosen from the other bloodline of the Qin clan, and is now Qin Zheng's wife. Both of them are in charge of the Qin clan together, and they also have a son named Qin Dangtian. His name is Heaven's Son and his name is Qin Dangtian. Heaven's Son. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with sharpness. His expression was extremely cold as he spoke. Back then, Qin Zheng's strength was already inferior to my father. My father once defeated him. There's only a single Qin Yuanfeng in the world. There's no need to doubt Qin Zheng's strength. As for that Heaven's Son, he inherited the talent of both his parents, surpassing even his father. What is the meaning of Heaven's Son? He was chosen by the heavens, and since he was young, he has already displayed heaven-shaking talent. I'm thinking that since he was named Qin Dangtian, his meaning is to dominate the world. As for your parents, what's the meaning behind them naming you Wentian? Both of you have the word heaven in your name. Are you two fated to be enemies? Luo Shenyu spoke. When my parents named me, they once said, ask the heavens, ask the earth, who will rise and fall. Hence, I was named Wentian. Qin Wentian replied. Luo Shenyu's gaze froze before he laughed uproariously again. As expected of Qin Yuanfeng. What courage! One wants to dominate the world while the other wants to ask the heavens who will rise and fall. The two of you seem to be enemies since birth, destined by fate. Destined by fate, to be enemies since birth. Qin Wentian's gaze was extremely cold. The son of the despicable character who acted against his father back then was actually so powerful to this extent. Elder brother, didn't you ask why my father would do this? At this moment, Luo Shenlei, who was at the side, suddenly interjected. Qin Wentian glanced at her, only to see that Luo Shenlei's eyes were red. It was like she didn't expect this to be the case, causing her to feel incomparably sad. Did Qin Wentian know that this useless cripple standing in front of him was once the Skyorder heavenly deity, whose name shook the world? He was the future leader of the Luotian clan. However, after that battle, everything turned into nothingness. Her father had to endure the disdainful looks of countless people. She didn't expect this to happen. She felt an unbearable pain in her heart. Why? Qin Wentian saw Luo Shenlei's reaction. Could it be that there was more to this than meets the eye? Once, he represented the Skyorder heavenly deity of the Luotian clan, and went to the Qin clan to seek justice for your parents. He wanted to challenge Qin Zheng, and coincidentally, the heaven son that father spoke of, Qin Dangtian, broke through to the heavenly deity realm. He represented his father to fight, and his first battle was against the Skyorder heavenly deity. He defeated him and crippled his cultivation, causing his name to resound through the world. Luo Shenlei clenched her fists tightly as tears flowed down her face. Qin Dangtian represented her father to fight and crippled her father's cultivation, causing his name to resound through the world. But what about her? What could she do? Qin Dangtian could easily crush her to death with a single finger. The heaven's son trampled on her father's body and became famous throughout the world. Chapter 1802. Kacha. When Qin Wentian heard Luo Shenlei's words, he abruptly clenched his fists, causing a crisp sound to ring out. A terrifying coldness gushed forth from him as his eyes that were as deep as the stars grew even colder to the extreme. His uncle's cultivation was crippled, causing him to end up like this. It was actually because he wanted to seek justice for his parents. And the person who crippled his uncle was the son of that despicable character from the Qin clan. Back then, in his memories, his father treated him like an elder brother and never had the heart to compete with him. In fact, he even left the Qin clan, and when he found his father treated him with respect. However, Qin Zheng challenged his father, and after being forced back, he still wasn't willing to give up, and wanted to kill his father. His father's first life was seized by him, and now, he became the king of the Qin clan, controlling the heavenly deity race. His son was also a heavenly deity now, crippling his uncle's cultivation. This hatred could truly be said to be irreconcilable. Uncle, my parents have implicated you. Qin Wentian felt some guilt. A heavenly deity had his cultivation crippled. How much pain was this? This was simply unimaginable. This middle-aged man with white hair and a face full of wrinkles. How glorious was he once? He was the Skyorder heavenly deity, the successor of the Luotian clan. He simply couldn't imagine the disparity between them and the disdain of others. No wonder Luotian Lei would cry. Most probably, she understood her father's pain the most. It has already been many years, I'm already used to it. Luotian Yu smiled. I'm already very happy to be able to receive news of you and even see you personally. Wentian, growing up from an orphan to where you are today, this path must have been very difficult, right? Now, you still have to face such a huge grudge. It must have been tough on you. He understood that this young man before him was the son of Qin Yuanfeng and his younger sister. One was the most outstanding character in the Qin clan back then, having once defeated Qin Zheng, the leader of the Qin clan. The other was a heaven chosen of the Luotian clan. How could the son of the two of them be weaker than the son of Qin Zheng and his younger sister? So what if Qin Wentian was the heaven's son? How could he not hear of Qin Wentian's name and ask the heavens and earth who was the ruler of this world? Precisely because of this, Qin Wentian had to shoulder all the hatred on his shoulders no matter what. This was his responsibility, his mission. This was why he said that Qin Wentian and Qin Dangtian were destined to be enemies. Compared to everything my father endured in the past, what can this count for? In the future, I will definitely slaughter my way into the Qin clan. A debt of blood must be repaid with blood. Everything they owe me, I have to pay them back. Qin Wentian's countenance was ice cold. Whatever the Qin clan owed his father, he would definitely pay it back. Qin Dangtian fought in place of his father. In that case, Qin Wentian naturally wanted to take revenge for his father. Fine, it's just that right now you are still growing and it's not suitable for you to be exposed. They have no idea of your existence. If the Qin clan knew that Qin Yuanfeng has a son, Qin Zheng would definitely spare no expense to kill you. Given how powerful the Qin clan is now, it's very difficult for anyone to protect you. Lei told me about your whereabouts and I came here secretly. Other than me and Lei, no one else knows of your existence. I didn't even tell your maternal grandfather about this. Luotian Yu spoke. He knew how serious this matter was. Qin Wentian was the son of Qin Yuanfeng and his younger sister. Now he had grown so outstanding and his name resounded through Time City. Lei said that he had already displayed a magnificence through the generations in the Time Realm. If this was known by the Qin clan, they would definitely kill him. Don't reveal your bloodline so easily. Others might know about it. As for your surname, it's not important. There are so many people in the world with the surname Qin. Luotian Yu reminded. Uncle, I once encountered a death calamity and my body shattered. Luckily, I had a miraculous encounter and survived. Right now, I don't have any bloodline power in me. Qin Wentian spoke. Luotian Yu started. He felt at ease in his heart, but also a little disappointed. That was the bloodline power of Qin Yuanfeng and the Luotian clan. Although it's a little regretful, this is also good. Even if your talent is noticed by the Qin clan, as long as you don't have any bloodline power, no one would suspect you. Luotian Yu nodded. Uncle, don't worry. If I want my bloodline power, I can make it return to me at any time. Qin Wentian spoke again, his words causing Luotian Yu's eyes to freeze. He stared at Qin Wentian's clear eyes as he smiled and nodded. If that's the case, it would naturally be very perfect. As for the exact reason, he didn't ask. Qin Wentian's words were already sufficient. Uncle, if grandfather knew of my existence, what would his attitude be? Qin Wentian asked. His grandfather was his mother's father. They were also related by blood. He really wanted to know how his grandfather would view his existence. Although grandfather objected to your parents being together back then, it was because he loved your mother deeply. There was also the pressure from the clan. Right now, everything has already passed. Although your grandfather doesn't say it, he misses your mother dearly. I once saw him staring at your mother's portrait in a daze. Who doesn't love their own daughter? Luo Shenyu slowly spoke. If your grandfather knew that your mother has you, he would definitely want to see you just like me. It's just that the Luoshan clan has experienced many things during these years. Your grandfather's authority in the clan has weakened greatly. Right now the Luoshan clan isn't united. Hence, I didn't tell your grandfather because I didn't want the Luoshan clan to know of your existence. When the time is right, I'll bring you to the Luoshan clan and let your grandfather meet you. Right. Qin Wentian nodded. Seems like the Luoshan clan was greatly affected because of the matter regarding his parents. His uncle was once the successor of the Luoshan clan. In that case, his grandfather's status in the clan would surely be extremely high. Back then, his mother's status was also transcendent. No wonder the Luoshan clan didn't agree. Father, in the time realm, someone wanted to kill elder brother. Also, if it wasn't for elder brother gaining a sudden insight and causing time to freeze, he most probably would have died. At this moment, Luo Shenlei suddenly spoke. When Luo Shenyu heard this, he frowned. His turbid eyes gleamed with sharpness. His dispirited body actually exuded a hint of imposingness. Although his cultivation base was crippled, he was still a heavenly deity. His imposingness was ingrained into his bones. Who? Luo Shenyu asked. The Dragon Pool Manor in Time City. I once warned them, but they still made preparations in the dark, wanting to kill me in a single strike. Luo Shenlei's voice was cold. I will depart today. After I leave, I will get Lifeless to stay behind and follow you. As for the matters in the future, I will leave them to you and Wentian to handle. Luo Shenyu spoke. Although he came here in secret, he was still the Skyorder heavenly deity of the Luoshan clan. Even though his cultivation base was crippled now, if someone saw him, they would surely be able to guess his purpose for coming to the mystic region. Hence, he needed to leave as soon as possible. This was especially so when he still needed Lifeless to stay behind. He mustn't stay here any longer. If Grandpa Lifeless is here, there naturally won't be a problem. Luo Shenlei nodded. She was Luo Shenyu's daughter. How could she not know what sort of existence Lifeless was? Lifeless was more than sufficient to deal with the Dragon Pool Manor. Uncle is leaving just like that? Qin Wentian's gaze froze as he stared at the middle-aged man before him. This middle-aged man traversed the boundless territories, from the Luoshan clan of the desolate region to the mystic region. He only met with him once before he left? Child, I'm very happy to see you. In the future, I only hope that you will be able to live well. Although a cripple like me can't help you too much, if you encounter any difficulties, you must remember to look for me. I will do my best to help you. Luo Shenyu took out his messaging crystal. Qin Wentian naturally understood his intentions. He left his immortal sense behind, and also took out his own messaging crystal. In the future, the two of them would be able to communicate through space. Alright, I'm leaving now. I'm filled with anticipation for the day you come to the Luoshan clan. Naturally, I'm filled with even more anticipation for the day you can step into the Qin clan of the Heaven region and change the sky. Luo Shenyu had too much anticipation for Qin Wentian. There was no other reason other than because Qin Wentian was the son of Qin Yuanfeng and his younger sister. I will definitely. Qin Wentian clenched his fists tightly. Luo Shenyu laughed uproariously. After that, he informed the people who came, and under the protection of the experts, he actually stealthily left the 10 miles inn. He only stayed here for a short period of time before hurriedly departing as though he had never been here before. Qin Wentian stood in the courtyard in a daze. His heart was exceptionally heavy. He knew the anticipation his uncle had for him. When he looked at him in the eyes of his uncle, It was like he saw hope, the hope of getting justice for his parents. For this matter, he didn't manage to accomplish it when he was the Skyorder heavenly deity. It was also very difficult for his grandfather to accomplish it. Everything depended on him because he was their son. Responsibility mission. Heaven's son, destined to be enemies from birth. Qinzheng, the king of the Qin clan. All of this was waiting for him. Mississippi at this moment. An old man suddenly appeared here, standing beside Luo Shenlei. Grandpa lifeless. Luo Shenlei politely called out to this old man, filled with respect. From this, one could tell that this old man's status was extraordinary. He was truly extraordinary. From the time the Skyorder heavenly deity was young, he had been protecting him. It was unknown how many years have passed since then. After the Skyorder heavenly deity was crippled, some of the old men all left. However, Lifeless didn't say anything and remained loyal, protecting her father. Despite the fact that the person he was protecting was a cripple who had no future. Although Lifeless and her father were master and servant in name, their relationship was like that of father and son. He treated her father as a relative, and was one of the people her father trusted the most. Master said that Miss needs me to do something. The old man spoke. Grandpa Lifeless, you should rest first. If there's a need, I will look for you. Luo Shenlei spoke. Okay. The old man nodded. After that, he directly vanished from sight. After he left, Luo Shenlei spoke to Qin Wentian. Elder brother, how should we deal with the matter of the Dragon Pool Manor? Given Grandpa Lifeless cultivation base, he alone is sufficient to destroy the Dragon Pool Manor. She was the one who took the initiative to raise this matter to her father. Even if Qin Wentian didn't say it, she wouldn't spare the Dragon Pool Manor. She once said that she would remember what happened that day, and also told the Dragon Pool Manor not to forget it. She hoped that the Dragon Pool Manor would still remember her words. Chapter 1803. The Dragon Pool Manor was located in Time City. The size of this manor was incomparably vast, comparable to the size of Azure Mystic. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, there were many powerful clans that have existed for countless years. Many of them had millions of members and were like clans or empires. The Dragon Pool Manor was extremely flourishing. There were many branches within the manor, and there were also experts guarding the entrance. At this moment, the Dragon Pool Manor was as lively as before. In a training ground, many disciples were currently listening to the Tao lectures of world overlords. These world overlords were worshipped by the Dragon Pool Manor, and there were also people from the Dragon Pool clan. However, their statuses weren't considered high. Right now, the true core members of the Dragon Pool Manor were still in the Time Realm, and had yet to return. The sky was clear, there were no clouds in the 10,000 miles. Sunlight cascaded down on the manor. At this moment, a powerful immortal sense descended upon the Dragon Pool Manor, spreading out unceasingly, enveloping more and more experts. At this moment, the expressions of many changed. The eyes of the guard gleamed with sharpness as he asked, I wonder which senior has arrived. The world overlord who was currently lecturing to the disciples of the Dragon Pool Manor suddenly had a cold light flash in his eyes. Which Tao friend's immortal sense descended upon my Dragon Pool Manor? In the air, a stifling pressure suddenly gushed forth, locking onto the Dragon Pool Manor. After that, the people of the Dragon Pool Manor saw a figure in white, exuding magnificence through the generations. He stood arrogantly in the air with a bow in his hands, exuding a heaven-shaking might that descended from the sky. The expressions of many experts from the Dragon Pool Manor drastically changed. When they saw the bow, their countenances turned as pale as paper. World-breaking bow, how can this be possible? Why would the world-breaking bow be in the hands of an outsider? A world overlord turned pale. This was a supreme treasure of their Dragon Pool Manor, and was extremely powerful. It had always been controlled by the core members of the Dragon Pool Manor. But now, it appeared in the hands of the white-robed young man in the air. Also, the world-breaking bow was pointed directly at their Dragon Pool Manor. He is the Qingqing Realm Lord. Someone exclaimed in shock, recognizing Qin Wentian. Back then, the Dragon Pool Manor had a grudge with Qin Wentian. It wasn't strange for there to be people who recognized Qin Wentian. Panicked chaos. That overwhelming pressure bore down, enveloping the entire Dragon Pool Manor. No one knew where the arrow would be shot to. But no matter where it was shot to, it would be a calamity for the Dragon Pool Manor. Buzz. The white-robed figure in the air didn't say anything. He directly shot out the world-breaking bow in his hand. A resplendent arrow light shot through the air, shooting towards the place where the world overlords were speaking about the Tao. The world overlords there all had pale expressions. All of them released their world hearts and heaven heart mandates. However, the world-breaking bow penetrated through everything, ignoring the power of heaven heart mandates, and directly pierced through the body of a world overlord. The terrifying destructive might radiating from the bow was like a world-destroying tempest that ravaged the surroundings. Many people in the surroundings who were listening to the Tao lecture were met with a calamity. In an instant, screams of misery rang out. The Dragon Pool Manor was in a state of panic. Someone was using a treasure of their Dragon Pool Manor, the world-breaking bow, to deal with them. Sir, let's talk things through. A world overlord soared into the air and spoke to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian used the power of his heaven heart mandate to condense the arrow. He knocked it on the bowstring and a beam of light shot out. That world overlord who spoke directly transformed into white light and vanished into thin air. His voice was still echoing in the air, but his person had already disappeared forever. When the Dragon Pool Manor used this bow to kill me, didn't you speak nicely to me? A cold voice rang out from the sky. Although the sun was shining brightly, the people of the Dragon Pool Manor felt a chill down their spines. The Dragon Pool Manor had once used this bow to kill him. However, it was clear that they didn't manage to kill him. In addition, this bow was now in the hands of the other party. Now the other party came for revenge. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, another arrow shot out, piercing through the air. A world overlord wanted to flee, but how could he do so? The arrow locked onto him and directly killed him. There was no way for him to escape. Below, many people were caught in the crossfire and were killed as well. No. Someone screamed in terror and rage. Qin Wentian's arrows continued to shoot out. Each arrow killed a world overlord, wanting to annihilate the world overlords of the Dragon Pool Manor. At the same time, many experts of the Dragon Pool Manor would die together with him. If it was merely because of the grudge between him and the Heaven Immortal Tower back then, Qin Wentian wouldn't have done this. However, the Dragon Pool Manor didn't care about the rules. In the Time Realm, in order to hunt him down, they first acted against Namfeng Yaoyue and Jun Mingchen. After he appeared, they directly shot an arrow at him. At that time, did the Dragon Pool Manor show any mercy? That arrow almost killed Princess Kitamura. If it wasn't for him comprehending at the crucial moment, there would no longer be a Princess Kitamura now. Even now when he thought of it, Qin Wentian felt a lingering fear. That arrow not only killed Yu Huang, it could also kill him. Next, it would be Jun Mingchen, Namfeng Yaoyue and the others. When the Dragon Pool Manor shot out that arrow, it was already destined that between him and the Dragon Pool Manor, only one side could exist. The arrow transformed into destructive beams of light that ravaged the Dragon Pool Manor. More and more experts died as the palaces collapsed. The Dragon Pool Manor was in a state of complete panic. Many people had looks of despair on their faces, feeling an intense hatred for the people of the Dragon Pool Manor in the Time Realm. How could they allow the Dragon Pool Manor to fall into such a dangerous situation? Many people took out messaging crystals and contacted the experts of the Dragon Pool Manor in the Time Realm. There were even some who directly contacted the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. In the Time Realm, the Dragon Pool Manor already received the news. Qin Wentian and his group had already left the Time Realm unknowingly. Although the Dragon Pool Manor Lord hoped that they could stay for a period of time, he still prepared to move out. He was somewhat worried that Qin Wentian would act against the Dragon Pool Manor after he left. The experts of the Dragon Pool Manor were all in the Time Realm. Right now, there weren't many experts guarding the manor. However, because the Time Realm was the Dragon Pool Manor, no one dared to act against them. If someone really dared to act against the Dragon Pool Manor, it would be useless even if they were here. But all these were in the past. Qin Wentian was an exception. Although there were no movements from him for many years, who knew if he would go crazy or not? Manor Lord, someone killed his way into the manor. Grandpa, the Qingqing Realm Lord is wielding the world-breaking bow, and is currently massacring everyone in the manor. Great-grandpa, save me. Numerous panicked voices rang out in the mind of the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. At this moment, he felt like he was struck by lightning as his body trembled violently. Qin Wentian wielded the world-breaking bow, and directly killed his way into the Dragon Pool Manor. Not only for him, many of the world overlords who came with him to the Time Realm also received the message from their juniors. At this moment, in the palace where the Dragon Pool Manor was located, numerous figures soared up into the air. Arg! Someone screamed in terror, abandoning everything as he sped towards the exit of the Time Realm. In fact, he didn't even have the time to care if the Manor Lord had given the order or not. My son is still in the manor, a world overlord roared. Everyone from the Dragon Pool Manor, return to the manor immediately and kill the traitors. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord felt his entire body turning cold. With a loud roar, he soared up into the air and sped towards the exit of the Time Realm. He just received the news not long ago, and Qin Wentian actually directly launched a massacre to take revenge. This meant that Qin Wentian directly acted against his Dragon Pool Manor, not long after he exited the Time Realm. Vile beast! The pressure radiating from the Dragon Pool Manor Lord rumbled as the flames of his rage seethed in the air. Many experts in the Time Realm felt shock in their hearts when they saw this scene. Seems like something major must have happened. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord took out his messaging crystal and spoke to one of his subordinates. Tell him to stop immediately. If not, I will definitely annihilate the entire Qingqing realm after I exit. Qin Wentian was the overlord of a realm. Since his title was the Qingqing Realm Lord, his territory was naturally the Qingqing realm. Outside, in the Dragon Pool Manor, someone shouted, Qingqing Realm Lord, if you still don't stop, my Dragon Pool Manor Lord will annihilate the entire Qingqing realm. An extremely cold light flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. Another arrow shot towards the person who spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, the entire palace he resided in was destroyed. The people in the surroundings all died. Upon seeing this scene, no one dared to threaten Qin Wentian anymore. That would simply be courting death. They could only pray that the Manor Lord would return soon. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord soon learned of the situation here. He roared in rage again. Qin Wentian, if I don't annihilate your entire clan, I swear I'm not human. Upon hearing this voice, the hearts of many trembled violently. Seems like that supreme young man who comprehended the ability to stop time had already started to take revenge on the Dragon Pool Manor after he exited the Dragon Pool Manor. Right now, there was no one in the Dragon Pool Manor who could stop his slaughter. Should we go out to spectate the battle? Many people were thinking that this storm would surely cause a huge commotion. It has been a very long time since such a major incident occurred in Time City. Many people hesitated for a moment before they decided to leave the Time Realm to take a look. However, no one sympathized with the Dragon Pool Manor Lord. This was merely him reaping what he sowed. Back then, the Dragon Pool Manor didn't abide by the rules and directly lured Qin Wentian to death. They first targeted the relatives of Qin Wentian, and even shot an arrow through Princess Kitamura. How could this be possible? If they were Qin Wentian, they would also take revenge in a frenzy. Now it all depended on who was stronger. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord didn't keep his messaging crystal. At the same time, he was seeking help from the other major powers in the Time Realm, sending experts to stop Qin Wentian. Other than that, he contacted Yu Changkong's immortal sense and spoke, Young Master Yu, Qin Wentian is currently taking revenge on my Dragon Pool Manor, causing a massacre in our territory. When the Dragon Pool Manor Lord spoke, hatred could be seen in his heart. In truth, the fuse for all of this was Yu Changkong. If it wasn't for Yu Changkong's hint, although he might still act against Qin Wentian, he wouldn't have used such a drastic method to completely infuriate Qin Wentian. This was the reason why there was such a bitter ending today. Even if he dismembered Qin Wentian into 1,000,000 pieces, who would compensate the Dragon Pool Manor for their losses? No matter what, he had to tell Yu Changkong about this matter. He wanted Yu Changkong to know what price his Dragon Pool Manor had to pay because of a single sentence he said. After Yu Changkong heard the Dragon Pool Manor lord's words, he coldly laughed, shedding all pretense of cordiality. That's good. Let's fight crazily then. In the palace the Donghuang clan was in, everyone moved. They received the order and were preparing to exit the time realm. The experts of the various powers in the time realm all moved, rushing towards the exit, preparing to witness a storm. You're tuning in to the Limei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.